Dolphins 2-0 thus far in preseason. They're going for their 11th straight preseason victory. The Minnesota Vikings struggling a little bit. They're 1-1. Nick, the Minnesota Vikings, no stranger to you. You played against them a number of times when you were with the Dolphins. What's your assessment of the Vikings?
Well, first of all, Bud Grant does not stress preseason. His training camp is pretty relaxed. He comes down here to play the football game. They jump on a plane. They go back to Minnesota. All they're trying to do is get a little work for their veterans, enjoy the preseason game, try to keep as few guys as possible from getting injured, and get ready for the opener.
Now tonight we're going to take a good look at Minnesota center Dennis Swilley. Let's talk a little bit about Swilley and the reason we're talking about him.
Obviously, because number 67, Dennis Swilley, a four-year man out of Texas A&M, is the incumbent center for the Minnesota Vikings. The reason we're talking about him is because of number 62 from the Miami Dolphins, Jim Lang, who is sitting up in Royalton, Minnesota. Now, Jim, I talked to this week. I asked him if there's any chance he could possibly be a Miami Dolphin. He said absolutely not. He's closed the door. If he doesn't play for Minnesota, he will continue working for the bank up there.
All right, talking about players coming back, another Dolphin has rejoined the fold, Larry Gordon, but he will not play in this game.
Well, I think this is strategy by Don Shula. Larry Gordon reached agreement with the Dolphins, signed a 4- or 5-year contract with them, but he will not play tonight because he's on a special exempt list, meaning that he will not count on the roster until he plays in a preseason game, and Don Shula is trying to allow as many spots on the roster as possible, so Larry will not suit up tonight.
Now, as training camp got underway, it was no secret that the quarterback position for the Miami Dolphins was wide open. The coaches have had a long look at both, Bob Greasy and Don Strock. Tonight, the fans get a chance to look at both of them in action in the same game.
Well, that's right. I mean, right now, Bob Greasy and Don Strock so far have completed about the same amount of passes. Bob is 5 for 9 in preseason. Don Strock is 5 for 10. But this is the first head-to-head competition for the quarterback position. If, in fact, Don Shula does have an open quarterback rivalry going, where the fans themselves are going to be able to judge this game, the next game, as to whether or not who the incumbent quarterback should be. Let's see. It's up to you. You view it. You make your own judgment.
Okay, it should be an interesting ball game. We'll be back with the opening kickoff right after this.
A channel for the water that'll bring life to this barren land. And now comes Miller time.
When it's time to relax.
Time for the best tasting beer you can find.
One beer stands clear.
America's quality beer, Miller High Life.
If you got the time, we've got the beer.
What are they?
It's the last week of your Toyota dealer's August sales event. There's still lots of excitement, but you've got to get on the bandwagon now. Your Toyota dealers discover the deal days are almost over. We're moving out the last of the 1980s.
Forget high prices.
And discover summertime deals. You can discover a Toyota for a lot less than you think. Don't let the parade pass you by.
We're getting ready to go, and look who's kicking off for the Miami Dolphins. Number 46, Don Besselou. Deep for Minnesota, Kevin Miller, Robert Miller, and Doug Haskell. Here is the kick by Besselou. It's a little squibber. It's taken by the up man. It's taken there by number 99, Ryan Mullaney, the brother of Mark Mullaney, the man on the defensive line. That was a 12-yard return, and that wasn't a very impressive start by Don Besselou. Don Shula wanted to see if he could get the ball down.
It's incredible, Tony, but last year he did the same thing. He started out that Don Shula wanted to use him as a kickoff man, and yet what happens today, he did the same thing. He squibbed the football, and this is not what Don Shula intended.
First and 10 for Minnesota. The ball is at the 33-yard line. It is Tommy Kramer starting at quarterback. Ricky Young and Ted Brown are in the starting backfield. And Kramer's going to go to the air. We should see a lot of this tonight. He's going long. He's got his tight end, Bob Tucker. That's way more than enough for the first down. Glenn Blackwood in on the tackle. That was Ahmad Rashad, excuse me, not Bob Tucker. That was a 15-yard pickup. And let's set the offense for you for the Minnesota Vikings. The tackles, Steve Riley and Frank Myers. The guards, Jim Huff and former Dolphin. Mel Mitchell, the center, as we told you at the outset, is Dennis Swilley. Your receivers, Ahmad Rashad and Sammy White. They're two good ones. Your tight end is Bob Tucker. Tommy Kramer is your quarterback. Ricky Young and Ted Brown are your setbacks. First and 10. The ball at the Minnesota 48-yard line. The give us to Brown. Over the right side. He picks up some good yardage. But down there by Kim Bocamper. And let's set the defense for you for the Miami Dolphins. Your ends will be Vern Den Herter and Doug Betters. Bob Baumhauer will be your nose guard. The inside linebackers, Ernie Rohn and Rusty Chambers. A.J. Dewey getting us started outside linebacker, along with Kim Bocamper. Your cornermen, Norris Thomas and Gerald Small. Glenn Blackwood and Tim Foley are your safeties. 2nd and 5. The ball at the 47-yard line of Miami. Tommy Kramer directing the offense for the Minnesota Vikings. To give us to Ricky Young, up the middle. Gets about 2. He's met by Ernie Rohn and that entire defensive front. It'll be 3rd and 2, the ball at the 44-yard line.
Tony, last year, Ricky Young, number 34, who just carried the football, caught the football 72 times as a back coming out of the backfield for 519 yards, a 7.2 average. So you can look for him in short yardage and 3rd and 5s and 2nd and 6s to get a lot of balls thrown by Tommy Kramer tonight.
Setting it up again, it's 3rd and 2. The ball is at the Miami 44-yard line. Ricky Young in motion. But to give us to Ted Brown up the middle. It looks like he has the first down. It's awfully close. Brought down by Doug Betters and Ernie Rohn. They're going to bring the sticks in. They say it's enough for the first down. The ball is spotted at the 42-yard line, so Tommy Kramer and the Minnesota Vikings starting to move the ball down the field. For the Miami defense, Tim Foley is getting his first start of the preseason.
Now, we keep talking about the need of a fullback for the Miami Dolphins. Let's look at the Minnesota Vikings. They really don't have a fullback. They use Ted Brown and Ricky Young in there, back there. Neither one of them are the fullback type size, but they go out there and they just do a good job for them.
1st and 10, the ball at the 42-yard line of Miami. 12-14 left in this opening quarter, no score. Tommy Kramer back to pass. He's looking long. He's looking for Sammy White. Sammy White has Norris Thomas beat. The ball goes through his arms. Sammy White really put on the afterburners, didn't he, Nick?
Sammy White from Grambling. This man can fly. Tommy Kramer in the pocket. Looks a lot like Fran Tarkenton sitting in that pocket. Puts it up over the top. Sammy White coming up in there, just goes through his hands. It was not tipped. It was just a drop pass. It's tough under these lights, Tony, to make those type receptions, but great receivers have to make them.
A beautiful throw by Tommy Kramer. Tommy Kramer had 23 touchdown passes in 1979, and as we said, he took every snap from center. 2nd and 10, the ball at the Miami 42. No score.
Let's look for the tight end here. Bob Tucker, number 38.
Kramer back to pass. He's going high up top. He was going for Ahmad Rashad. Way overthrown. A.J. Dewey had some good pressure on Kramer from his linebacker position. Glenn Blackwood on the coverage for Miami.
It's very interesting. A.J. Dewey is playing the right linebacker position because Ralph Ortega has come up with a bad back, and they put Ernie Rohn in the middle. So now you see number 55, Ernie Rohn, playing the inside linebacker position, and A.J. Dewey, I'm not saying by default, but is not playing the outside linebacker position. Right now, the Dolphins have substituted for Dewey and put 5 defensive backs into the game.
3rd and 10, 11:58 in the first quarter. The ball is at the 42 of Miami. The nickel defense is in for the Dolphins. Shotgun formation. Kramer gets the snap. Pressure from Bocamper. He's got his man. The ball was thrown to Ricky Young, but it was taken away by Norris Thomas. A nice play by Thomas. We're going to take a look at that again, Nick.
You talk about meeting him at the crossroads. Tommy Kramer's sitting very coolly in the pocket, waits for Ricky Young to get open. Now watch the contact here. Watch Ricky Young make the catch and a contact by Norris Thomas. He did have possession of the football, and it is a fumble, and Norris Thomas pounces on it, giving Miami good field position, and the first time they get their hands on the football.
1st and 10, the ball at the Miami 31-yard line. John Strock is directing the Miami offense, and he's going back to pass. He's looking deep. He's got his tight end and Nat Moore. Nat Moore makes the reception. tag down there by Johnny Turner from the University of Miami. This is Nat Moore's first start, first play, and I think he's happy. A 42-yard reception from Strock to Nat Moore.
Well, if there was any doubt about Nat Moore, he's been hurt for 2 weeks. He's had a pulled groin muscle. This is his first start in preseason play. The man can fly. Great reception, beating a good friend of his also from Miami, Johnny Turner, number 27.
Ronnie Lee was also in the area, and he was also wide open. 1st and 10 for Miami. The ball is at the 26-yard line of Minnesota. 11:08 left in this first period. 1st and 10, as we said. That was a 51-yard pass from Strock to Moore. The give is to Steve Howell, up the middle. He's met there by Mark Mullaney and number 72, James White. We'll give him a pickup of 1. It'll be 2nd and 9, the ball at the 25. Let's set the Miami offense for you. Bob Kuchenberg and Eric Laxo are the tackles. Ed Newman and Larry Little the guards. Mark Denner at the center. The receivers, Duriel Harris and Nat Moore. The tight end, Ronnie Lee. Don Strock is the quarterback to set back Steve Howell and Tony Nathan. Defensively for Minnesota, the front four, they employ the 4-3. Mark Mullaney, Randy Holloway, James White, and Dave Roller. The linebacker, Scott Studwell, Matt Blair, Fred McNeil, Johnny Turner, Bobby Bryan on the corners. Tommy Hannon and Kurt Knopf are your safeties. 2nd and 9. The give is to Tony Nathan behind the block of Ed Newman. The Viking defense stringing it out. Pushed out of bounds by Dave Roller and number 25, Kurt Knopf.
Well, this is the game for Tony Nathan. Don Shula is starting him behind the first offensive line of the Miami Dolphins. He wants to see Tony Nathan under this type of game conditions. Nathan has to produce tonight, or you never know what can happen. I mean, there could be some trade bait going out there with Tony Nathan. They're featuring him.
No gain on that play, so it'll be 3rd and 9. The ball is at the 25-yard line of Minnesota. Gary Davis has now joined Tony Nathan in the backfield, replacing Steve Howell. Joe Rose is in at a tight end position, split out. Don Strock calling the signals for Miami. Some movement, there is a flag thrown. And we're going to see what the officials have to say.
False start, offense.
So that'll push the Dolphins back 5. Don Strock not quite agreeing with that call by the official. The ball will be spotted at the 30-yard line, so it'll be 3rd down and 14.
I don't know. I couldn't hear who it was on, Tony. 60-something or other. So one of the offensive linemen did move for the Dolphins because they're all in the 60s.
3rd and 14, the ball at the 30. 10-10 left in this opening period. A good look at Don Strock. No score. Back to pass. He's being pressured by Mullaney. He's being pressured out of the pocket. He has Tony Nathan, but he's going to lose one. Brought down there by Johnny Turner.
I think by that move by Strock, though, may save the field goal try here. Yes, Von Chalman's coming out to give it a field goal try. Now, Mark Mullaney, number 77, Tony's done such a super job so far in preseason for Minnesota. He has 5 sacks in 2 games, and he almost had one there.
He had 3 sacks in the opening quarter last week against Kansas City.
For those folks who don't know what a sack is, it's a quarterback tackle by Mark Mullaney.
It is going to be a 49-yard attempt. It's a fake. And it was an attempted quick kick by Uma Von Chalman. Would you say he shanked that?
I think he shanked it a little bit. Oh my God, that's terrific. That's really terrific.
Okay, so with 9:18 left on the clock here in the opening period, we'll return after this timeout.
Your feet were born to walk the land, barefoot in the summer sand. Your feet were born to walk in Exit sold by Tom McCann. The shoe your feet were born to walk in.
Exersoles from Tom McCann to let you walk more naturally. Exersoles for everyone, only at Tom McCann.
The shoe your feet were born to walk in.
McDonald's presents a whole new way to love chicken.
Oh, a hot chicken sandwich. Great idea.
Nobody makes chicken like McDonald's. Plump, tender chicken cooked a special way, so it's crunchy golden brown on the outside and juicy on the inside.
It's very good. It's very new.
With lettuce, a tasty sauce, and served hot on a toasted sesame seed bun.
Nobody can do it
McDonald's, you've done it again.
like McDonald's can.
An auspicious debut for Uwe von Schaman as a punter, -7 yards. 1st and 10 for Minnesota. The ball at their own 37-yard line, 9:18 left in this opening period. There is no score. Tommy Kramer directing the Minnesota offense. Sammy White in motion. To give it to Ted Brown. Around the right side. Picks up some good yardage. Gets pushed out at about the 45-yard line. Norris Thomas in on the stop. So that'll be a pickup of 9. 2nd down and 1 for the Vikings.
That was good blocking by the Minnesota Vikings. They had Beaucamp on the ground and Vern Denherter being turned around. That was Jim Howell, number 51, the offensive guard, who went out there and had Beaucamp put down.
2nd and 1. The ball is at the 46-yard line of Minnesota. This might be a gambling situation for Tommy Kramer. No, he gives it to Ricky Young right up the middle. A safe play brought down by Ernie Rohn and Vern Denherter. That'll be enough for the first down. We have now hit the 9-minute mark of this opening period. No score.
Tommy Kramer's that type of quarterback, Tony, who is very, very familiar to fans. Again, a la Frank Tarkenton, maybe Joe Namath a little bit. He really can't stay with his running game. Even though it's successful, he has a tendency to want to go to the air. Let's see if it happens now on 1st down.
1st and 10. The ball is at the 49-yard line of Minnesota. And there's a good look at Tommy Kramer, a 4th-year man from Rice. And I remember him when he decimated the University of Miami secondary up in Texas. He's going to throw the ball. Stepping up in the pocket. He's got Ricky Young out of the backfield. There's a fumble. But it looks as if Minnesota recovered the ball. Ricky Young's having some problems tonight keeping on the ball, holding on to the ball. Kim Beaucamper in there along with Bob Baumhauer.
There's good pressure on Kramer here. Number 75, you see Better's coming in from the outside. He can sense it, but he sees Ricky Young. Good composure in the pocket. Ricky Young is having trouble holding on to the football. This is not something that he does an awful lot of, but he's able to scoop it back up, and then Minnesota retains the football, and it's 2nd down and 5 to go. There's a timeout on the field, Tony.
It is 2nd and 5. The ball is spotted at the 46-yard line. And Nick, you know, we have quite an array of quarterbacks here tonight. Just to give you, for instance here, Tommy Kramer, when he was at Rice, led the nation in passing in 1976. Steve Dills from Stanford, he followed Guy Benjamin. He led the nation in passing in 1978. Then, of course, you have Guy Benjamin, who led the nation in 1977. Don Strock, who led the nation in passing for VPI in 1972.
And Earl Morrill, who's here, is leading the 40 and over league up in Fort Lauderdale. He's leading in passing, too.
It's quite a star-studded field of quarterbacks here tonight. We expect to see Steve Dills later in the game.
There's the first team.
June Taylor's Dolphin Starbright performing on the sidelines. There's a look at Henry Barrow down there, too. He's got himself covered up.
It looks like he has a fur coat on.
There's a look at Bud Grant, the man in charge of the Minnesota Vikings. Last year, 7-9, 3rd in the NFC Central Division. That's the first losing season that Grant had since 1967.
Tony, we hit the road next Friday night. Tough duty. We go to New Orleans. Where the Dolphins are going to face the real high-powered offense of the New Orleans Saints. Remember, game time on Channel 4 is at 9 o'clock as we take you live to New Orleans.
2nd and 5. The ball at the 46. Joe Sensor, the tight end, in motion. Kramer can't hold on to the ball, and he falls on it. Bad exchange from center. Ball is put back to the 49, so that'll be a loss of 3.
There is some dew on the field. There really is, and it's making the ball slippery, and I think the exchange from quarterback Swilly to Kramer are having problems with that. Well, actually, that wasn't Swilly. They put Swilly back in because of that exchange.
3rd and 8 for Minnesota. The ball at the 49. I can't believe that the Vikings would not pick up Jim Lang.
I can't either. I really can't. It's amazing.
3rd and 8. The shotgun formation. The nickel defense in for Miami. Kramer taking a deep drop. Over the middle, he has his tight end, Joe Sensor, but it's not enough for the first down. Brought down by Ernie Rohn and Tim Foley. The ball will be spotted at the 45-yard line. Not enough for the first down. And Nick, they like Joe Sensor.
Well, he's a first-year man. He was drafted last year, but was injured all year. He's from Westchester State. He's a big one. They expected him to replace either Stu Voigt or Bob Tucker, who have been the starting tight ends for Minnesota.
Greg Coleman is into punt for the Vikings. Tony Nathan, Don Bessalou, and Glenn Blackwood deep for Miami. Nathan is the man in the middle. And oh, how successful he was returning punts in 1979. He called for a fair catch at the 13-yard line. So, with 6:35 remaining here in the first quarter, there is no score. We'll pause for this timeout.
It's the last week of your Toyota dealer's August sales event. There's still lots of excitement, but you've got to get on the bandwagon now. Your Toyota dealers discover the deal days are almost over. We're moving out the last of the 1980s.
Forget high prices.
And discover summertime deals. You can discover a Toyota for a lot less than you think. Don't let the parade pass you by.
You take 1,000 hearts up here with you. Make them skip a beat. Then take them back down to Miller time. Time for the best tasting beer you can find. America's quality beer.
When it's time to relax,
Miller High Life.
one beer stands clear. If you've got one high, we've got the beer.
Joel and young Tex love the Vikings, and there are a lot of people here that love the Miami Dolphins, and they will watch them perform. First and 10, the offensive unit has the ball at their own 13-yard line. Don Strock has Steve Howell and Tony Nathan in the backfield.
Watch Nathan get the ball towards us, Tony. Coming towards us.
The give is to Nathan behind the block of Howell up the middle. He's met first by James Duck White. Randy Holloway also in on the tackle. It'll be a pickup of about 3 yards, so it'll be 2nd and 7, the ball at the 16-yard line.
You know, maybe I heard a lot of comment last week as to, how would I know when they're going to throw a pass or who I'm going to throw it to? We have so many years when you're looking at the offensive formations and you look at the way the backs are lined up, it really indicates to you what's going to happen. Well, it indicates to me anyways.
2nd and 7. The give is to Howell up the middle. Howell can't hold on to the exchange from Strock. There is a fumble and looks as if, yes, indeed, number 72, James Duck White recovers for Minnesota. A turnover. And Nick, a lot of trouble holding on to the ball there.
Well, actually, right here, Howell just is too quick for Strock. Strock gets out of his spin, but he can't really put the ball into Howell's stomach so Howell can get control of it. Howell does have a great start, and that time it hurt him. You say, how can a quick start hurt you? But, that really is. It's a complete spin by the quarterback. He has to do like a 360-degree turn, and that time there, Howell just couldn't get hold of the football.
1st and 10 for Minnesota. The ball is at the Miami 17-yard line.
Let's look for Rashad here, number 28.
Rashad is split to the near side. Sammy White split to the far side. A little bit of play action. Kramer over the middle. He has his tight end, Bob Tucker. Brought down by Ernie Rohn. It's good enough for the first down. A 13-yard reception. It'll be 1st and goal from the 4.
Bob Tucker, number 38 from Bloomsburg State. I knew Bob when I was playing for the Boston Patriots, and Bob was a rookie trying to make it. He didn't make the football team, banged around a little bit, found a home went to the Giants first, then went up then to Minnesota. He's a fine tight end. His nickname is Scoop because I very seldom see him drop a pass, Tony. He's got great, great hands.
He also found himself a little mentor in Franz Harkington, did he not?
Oh, yes. Followed him from the Giants to Minnesota.
1st and goal. The ball is at the 4-yard line for the Vikings. The give is to Ted Brown around the left side. He gets back to the line of scrimmage. Forced out of bounds by Gerald Small. No gain, so it'll be 2nd and goal from the 4. There's Ted Brown, the #1 draft pick last year out of North Carolina State, and I don't think everyone is quite as happy with Brown as they would like. He's been bothered by a knee, despite the fact that Bud Grant and the coaches say he is 100%.
That was an excellent play by Gerald Small, Tony, because he had to fight off Rashad, then came up there and made the tackle on Brown one-on-one, and that's not what the Minnesota coaches want to see from a back like Brown.
There are 3 wide receivers in for the Vikings. Kramer's going to put it up. The pass intended for Ricky Young. Way out of his reach. Bob Matheson had some good pressure on Tommy Kramer. That was a strange formation, down deep, 3 wide receivers, wasn't it?
Well, actually what they're trying to do, the 2 wide receivers went down and then went in towards the goalpost, trying to drag all the defenders in with them and put the back, Ricky Young, one-on-one with the linebacker. But Bob Matheson come blitzing up the middle, put his 6'3" frame stretched down. Tommy Kramer had to throw over it, therefore overthrew Ricky Young.
Rashad and White split wide. Young and Ted Brown in the backfield with Tommy Kramer. Stu Voigt is now the tight end. Play action. Kramer sprints to his right. He's going to try and throw across the grain. Good pressure by Doug Betters. There is a flag on the play. Kramer is going to score. There is a flag down, however. Good pressure by Doug Betters, however. Kramer scrambled away and scored the touchdown.
It's against the Dolphins, Tony. And it's a touchdown for Minnesota because they'll refuse the penalty. Let's hear the call.
53, defense, declined, touchdown.
Well, you make one good play and then you come back with a bad one. This is against Bob Matheson for holding in the defensive backfield. You saw good pressure here by number 75 Betters, and Tommy Kramer can scramble. He just tucks the ball in his arm, finds a lane, gets to the end zone. Jimmy Foley's the only one who had a chance on him but couldn't get him, so it's 6 points for Minnesota.
And we have Rick Danmeyer in for the conversion. The kick is up, and it is good. So there's timeout on the field with 4:44 left in this opening period with the score Minnesota 7, Miami nothing. We'll return with more action after this pause.
I make my living in a pinstripe suit, but I do my living in jeans. And because I care about the Jackson style in front of 50,000 fans, or just one, my jeans have to look classy. Not fancy, classy. Reggiani jeans do. They're new, designed to fit a man's build. And with a Reggiani top, Reggie's ready for some heavy hitting. You know, a guy's got an obligation to his fans.
Available at Burdines.
Does your car engine run on after you turn off the key? Does it knock when you accelerate? You could solve your problems from the very first tankful of Amoco Premium Lead-Free. To find out, try the Amoco One Tank Test. Let your gas tank run down near empty. Then get a full tank of higher octane Amoco Premium Lead-Free. If your car doesn't have these problems, use lead-free Amoco in the blue pump.
That's Amoco's lead-free choice.
You expect more from a leader.
Tommy Kramer directed a 4-play drive, covered 17 yards in 1 minute and 8 seconds, consummated by a 4-yard run. So that means Minnesota is on top, 7-0, 4:44 left in this opening period. Rick Danmeyer going to kick off for Minnesota. Nick Giaquinto, Mike Kozlowski, and Don Besselou is deep. And we haven't seen Besselou in this position much since he's been here from Georgia Tech.
He's not a burner. I mean, the man does not really represent very, very fast speed. In other words, we consider 4.5, 4.4 fast. He's about 4.7.
Here's the kick by Danmeyer. It's going to be taken by Besselou at the 8. Brings it up the left side. And I want to tell you, for a man who's not a burner, he may break it. He hurdles Danmeyer. He has to get by one man, Terry LeCount, but LeCount finally brings him down. A nice return there by Don Besselou. A little altercation there with Henry Johnson.
Let's
a
watch
54-yard return,
54 yards. Watch Besselou pick up his blocking. He has a nose for it. Don Besselou is a very intelligent player. He sees a lane up there. But look at those white jerseys go tumbling to the ground. That's super blocking by the special teams. Besselou had that innate ability to find the opening, puts on some speed as best he can, and makes a good 54-yard return.
1st and 10, the ball at the 38 of Minnesota. The give is to Nathan. over the right side. Doesn't get much. Brought down there by Mark Mullaney and Dave Roller at front four for the Minnesota Vikings.
Oh, Dave Roller, number 76, was a cast-off of the Green Bay Packers. Went up to Minnesota last year and started for them most of the year.
With the exception of Roller, the other three defensive linemen for the Vikings are all number 1 draft picks. There was no gain on that play by Nathan, so it'll be 2nd and 10. 4 minutes left in this opening period. 7-0 Minnesota. The ball is at the 37-yard line of the Vikings. A good look at Don Strock. Swings it to Howell. Brought down by Matt Blair and Johnny Turner. He gets to the 37-yard line. Back to the line of scrimmage, so it's no gain. 3rd down and 10. Steve Howell comes out. Gary Davis comes in. And we will see Gary Davis throughout the entire season in this situation. On a possession down, 3rd down, he will go in for the fullback.
Don Strock is really most effective going to his outside receivers, either Durio Harris, 82, or 89, Nat Moore. Let's see.
He's going for Harris. And Harris put a move on Nate Wright that Wright is still trying to figure out. A beautiful throw, a nice move by Harris. Good enough for the 1st down. The ball is spotted at the 14.
Why some quarterbacks are more effective going to the outside, I don't know. But Durio Harris, all he did is put an in move and then broke to the outside. A perfect ball by Don Strock and a big 23-yard gain for the Dolphins and a 1st down. I like that. You know, Strock does get the ball to the outside because he has such good velocity and good pace on the football.
1st and 10. The ball is at the 14-yard line of Minnesota. Steve Howell has gone back in the lineup. 3 minutes left in this opening period. Strock again going to put it up. Over the head of his tight end, Ronnie Lee. Now 2:56 left in this opening period. You know, there's a tremendous dichotomy in the Minnesota camp, Nick. There are some who believe that... Dichotomy.
Well, now everybody has to run for the dictionaries to look up the word.
Okay, there's a tremendous split in the Minnesota camp. A lot of people feel that they're drafting... It was for Tony Nathan, but it came out of his hands. Tommy Hannon in on the coverage. To make myself a little clearer, the people believe that the Vikings have not drafted well the past 2 years. The past 2 years, only 7 draft picks have stuck on the squad. And last year, the Viking brass had to scramble to pick people off waivers, to pick people off the free agent rosters.
I tend to agree with those people who think that Doug Martin, their 1st-round draft choice, is not even in camp because they can't reach agreement with him on his contract.
3rd and 10, the ball's at the 14. We would like to apologize for our momentary loss of audio. Strock back to pass over the middle. The ball will be intercepted in the end zone by the veteran Bobby Bryant. It was intended for Nat Moore. And Bobby Bryant was fighting for a job.
There's Nat Moore coming down. What he's trying to do is get up over the middle here. See, to move to the outside, breaks to the inside. Bobby Bryant in perfect position. What happens on that is that there's double coverage on Nat Moore. There's a cornerback laying off to the outside, another one laying to the inside. Therefore, Nat Moore really had no chance of making that reception.
So, 2 turnovers inside the 20-yard line for the Dolphins have cost them. First and 10 for Minnesota. The ball spotted at the 20-yard line. Tommy Kramer leading the offense for the Vikings. Play action to Ricky Young. Kramer scrambling. He's motioning downfield to go long. He's got Ahmad Rashad open. The ball is over his head. And he's got an arm, doesn't he? That time.
Only 65 yards in the air. That's all.
Ahmad Rashad has caught more passes in his 4 years with Minnesota than any other wide receiver in the NFL, 250. There's one man who's caught more than that, and that's his teammate, Ricky Young. 255 passes over a 4-year period.
He's not all bad. If you saw Ahmad Rashad, number 28, wide open, it's what happened is when Kramer started to scramble, the Dolphins have to go in what they call a scramble rule. That means that Gerald Small has to get as deep as the deepest receiver in his area. That time he didn't.
2nd and 10. The ball is at the Minnesota 20. 2:33 left in this opening period. The Vikings on top, 7-0. They give us to Ted Brown. He runs into Tommy Kramer. He's reversing his field. Being chased by Baumhauer.
He better throw a pass.
Finally brought down by Baumhauer and Kim Bokamper. Rusty Chambers and Doug Betters and A.J. Dewey also around the ball. It'll be a loss of 4. So it'll be 3rd and 14 at the 16. And there's a good look at Ted Brown.
Ted Brown is not impressive at all, Tony. A matter of fact, I'm not sure he can make the Dolphin backfield. Tony Nathan, Gary Davis, and Delvin Williams, and the rest of the offensive backs are much better football player than he is.
The nickel defense in for Miami. 3rd and 14. The ball spotted at the Minnesota 16. The shotgun formation. And Nick, we're going to have to talk a little bit about this. Kramer getting pressured, brought down by Baumhauer. However, Baumhauer has to be assisted there by Melvin Mitchell, who turned around and ran into his quarterback.
Well, he was swinging him around pretty good. What happened is they have Ernie Roan coming in from the outside. Let's watch the move of Baumhauer on the center swilly. Boy, they better get Langer. That's all I can say. He went by him like he wasn't even there. Here he goes, swinging him around the old barn door. And in the NFL right now, they protect the quarterback, and they blew it dead before Kramer had to hit the ground.
Tell me the advantage of a shotgun.
Well, the advantage of a shotgun for the quarterback is obviously he can sit back there. When he gets the football snapped to him, he can see the defenses and the defense that is being employed against him. When he takes the ball from center, he has to go back. The quarterback has to turn his back from the line, turn around 7 yards deep, then read the defense. So it's a tremendous advantage.
Skip Johnson in to kick for Minnesota. Tony Nathan deep. Nathan's going to field it at the 39 of Minnesota. He's tripped up by Kurt Knopf. A 32-yard punt. The ball will be spotted at the Minnesota 34. Good field position for Miami. Skip Johnson was the man who punted that ball for Minnesota, just acquired on waivers from the Seattle Seahawks. There is a minute 19 left in this opening period. The Vikings on top, 7-0. 1st and 10 for Miami. The ball at the 34-yard line of Minnesota. Gary Davis and Steve Howell join Don Strock in the backfield. Play action to Davis. Strock over the middle. He has Nat Moore wide open. And Nat will get down to the 5-yard line. Brought down by Kurt Knopf, a 29-yard pickup. 1st and goal for Miami.
You know what makes this play so successful is Ron Lee, the tight end, went down there blowing down the field, and Juriel Harris did the same thing. What they did is they took their men out of the field, leaving a wide open spot for Nat Moore to come down and hook up in. Watch Nat do some footwork here, gets down to the 5-yard line. Big game for Don Strock because he needs this.
1st and goal. The ball is at the 4. We're inside 35 seconds of this opening period. A pitch to Davis behind the block of Howell. He'll get 2. 2nd and 2 from the 2. Brought down by Matt Blair.
I would think right now, Tony, Strock likes to go to the air. Let's see if he goes to the play action here.
And that is the end of the first quarter with the score: Minnesota 7, Miami nothing. We'll return right after this.
I'm walking into the kitchen, see. And I open up the refrigerator door. And I look way in the back behind the mayonnaise. I spy me an icy bottle of Coke. And I pops it open. When that ice cold Coke hits the back of my throat.
A Coke and a smile makes me feel good, makes me feel nice.
looks like the big oil companies have got the upper hand and are telling all of us what to do.
When you run into a major issue like the energy issue, or we were talking about the inflation issue, where the vested interest groups can't agree or where they want to block things, then Congress ends up paralyzed. And I think that's part of the problem.
Buddy McKay thinks we've had all the Washington thinking we can afford. Now it's time for some Florida thinking in Washington. Buddy McKay for the U.S. Senate.
Don Strock returning to the Miami huddle. It'll be second and goal for the Dolphins at the Minnesota 2. Strock thus far on the evening, quite impressive. 5 of 8 for 102 yards, and the second quarter just getting underway.
I said before the quarter, Tony, that I thought Strock would go to the air on a play-action pass here, but since he's gone to the sideline and talked to Don Shula, I have to change my mind. I think he'll probably go for a run here.
Well, I'm sure after last week against Seattle, Miami would like to punch it in with their running game. Second and 2, the ball at the 2. Second quarter just underway. Steve Howe and Gary Davis in the backfield. Give us to Howe. He tries to go up over the top, but he's met by that trio of linebackers for the Vikings. Scott Studwell leading the charge. There'll be no gain on that play, so it'll be 3rd and 2.
Scott Studwell, number 55, is playing in place of the injured Jeff Seaman, but they like Studwell, and I wouldn't be surprised when the season opens if he isn't the middle linebacker permanently for Minnesota.
A lot of people believe, with the fact that Seaman has constant problems with his knee, that Studwell will take over that middle linebacker position. 3rd and goal. Strock is rolling to his right. He's being pressured there. Finally falls down. There is a flag down on the play. He was pressured by Henry Johnson.
I believe that's a face mask, Tony. Yep, it's a face mask. That'll be a first down for the Dolphins. You see it right here. Watch Strock as he rolls out to his right. Watch the big hand grab the face mask. That was number 53, Henry Johnson, and the Vikings do like him as a linebacker, but he did have Strock around the nose.
Face mask, number 53, defense, first down.
Good look at Larry Little standing next to the official. Maybe he wanted to talk to him.
The senior Larry Little. You know, as you see Strock rolling out, obviously Don Strock is now what you call the scrambling type quarterback. He's more adept in the pocket, sitting in the middle, watching his pass patterns develop. When he has to get out of the pocket, he really is not as comfortable as, say, a David Woodley or even a Bob Greasy. Guy Benjamin is more like Don Strock, I would say.
Now, there seems to be some question as to where they're going to spot the ball. At first, they put it back to the 4, which would mean Miami would lose 3 yards on that penalty. That's where they're going to keep it, it looks like. The ball was at the 1 when that play began.
The Dolphins ought to be grateful to get the football, no matter where it is. That was a gift.
It was indeed a rookie mistake by Henry Johnson. He was a 7th-round draft pick from Georgia Tech. A look at Don Shula on the sideline next to John Sandusky. So this is the situation. First down for Miami. The ball is at the 4-yard line of Minnesota. Steve Howell and Gary Davis in the backfield along with Don Strock. The give is to Davis. But he's not getting anywhere. He's going to lose some. Brought down by Dave Roller. And that Minnesota front four is fired up.
All Dave Roller did is blow the hole, just blew through the hole, and beat the guard as he pulled. Watch right here. Watch number 76. The guard pulls. The Roller just runs through where the guard vacated. And that was Ed Newman who was pulling out there, and Roller just took his position. The center, Mark Gennard, did not get over there. He was supposed to get in there and make that block.
A loss of 4 for Miami. It'll be 2nd down and 8. A loss of 4 for Miami. 2nd down and 8 from the 8. Strock back to pass over the middle. The ball was intended for Gary Davis, but he was surrounded by Kurt Knopf and Fred McNeil. Some good pressure by Mark Mullaney.
Here's Strock dropping back. You can see some pressure up the middle right here.
Third down and 8 now.
Up the middle.
Third down and 8 for Miami. The ball is at the 8. Gary Davis and Tony Nathan in the backfield with Don Strock. Strock back to pass. Knocked away. A beautiful play by All-Pro linebacker Matt Flair. The ball intended for Nat Moore. A beautiful play by Matt Flair there. Knocking that ball down, and Miami still can't get the ball in the end zone. That'll present a 4th and 8 from the 8.
Matt Flair was in great position to intercept that, and had he done that, all he had was green in front of him, 95 yards for a Minnesota touchdown. Von Schaumann can try and put us on the board right now.
Von Schaumann will be attempting a 25-yard field goal. Let's make it 26. The kick is up. And it is good. So that puts the Dolphins on the board. So the score, Minnesota 7, Miami 3. We'll return with more action from the Orange Bowl after this timeout.
Homes like these you'd be proud to own. Are they really so expensive almost no one can buy? Not at all. Believe it or not, for less than $400 a month, you can own a home like this through the Kai's Company. Or for under $500 a month, you can be living in one like this today. Did you know that for less than $600 a month, you can buy a home like this through the Kai's Company? Even one like this for under $700 per month. Call your local Kai's office today and let Kai's experts show you the way.
Somebody should discover a better way to save gas. 37 ways, all called Toyota. You can get a great deal now. It's your Toyota dealer's Discover the Deal Days. He's got a great selection, and right now you can discover a fuel-efficient Toyota for less than you think.
So forget high prices.
Discover the deal.
Okay. I'm not afraid of you anymore.
Oh, what a feeling to feel Toyota.
Back at the Orange Bowl, 13-13 left to play in the opening half. That was a 25-yard field goal by Von Schaumann. 8 plays, 26 yards, 2 minutes and 21 seconds. 7-3 Minnesota over Miami. Don Besselou will kick for Miami. And there's a good look at Kevin Miller, third-year man from Louisville. And there's the kick by Besselou. At the 2, and he got that one deep. Kevin Miller will be forced out of bounds at the 21-yard line by Glenn Blackwood. A 19-yard return by Kevin Miller.
I'm sure Don Shula talked to the special teams after Cornell Webster broke that one for Seattle last week. They look a lot better tonight.
And I'm sure he's happy with that kick by Besselou after the opening kick. He got that one deep.
Don Besselou is such a likable guy. He really is, and he's such a good athlete. I really like him back there, Tony. He looks very relaxed back there and seems like he really has the savvy to play the position. Strong safety.
1st and 10 for Minnesota. The ball at the 22-yard line. That is a tight-ended motion. Bob Tucker. The give is to Ricky Young. There's a flag down on the play. Carl Barisic now in at nose tackle. He was in on the tackle. But there is a flag down on the play. Holding against Minnesota.
Now, Barisic, the only thing he can do is play, Tony. Every time he gets into the ball game, you can expect a very steady, a very good performance from the man. I insulted him the other day. I said, here's number 78, Barisic. I said, at least you're one of the guys who doesn't lift weights. Well, he almost came unglued. He said, what do you mean? He said, I'm into this weightlifting. I said, sorry, Carl.
Holding, number 51, offense, first down.
That was Jim Huff called for holding for Minnesota. So that'll present Tommy Kramer with a 1st and 20 situation. The ball at the 12. Don McNeil is in at one cornerback position for Miami. He, of course, is the number 1 draft pick. The other cornerback will be Eddie Taylor. Tim Foley and Glenn Blackwood are your safeties in this defensive alignment for Miami. 1st and 20, the ball at the 12.
Good screen situation here, Tony. Let's see if it is.
Kramer's going to put it up. Stays in the pocket, nice. He throws it right to Ernie Roan. A nice interception by Roan, and he can run with the ball. He will be pushed out of bounds at the 4-yard line, make it the 3-yard line. A nice interception by Ernie Roan.
All Ernie Roan did is just sit back there and let Kramer throw the football to him. There was really no magic to that. Kramer went back into the pocket. He kept it back in there to block for him. But what happened is Roan just dropped back. It was a zone defense. Roan just dropped back in there. And Kramer accommodates him very nicely here. Tosses it right into his arms. Ernie doesn't even have to stretch for that one. Arnsparker the coach for the Dolphins, does throw balls to the linebackers all week, and it pays off here. 17-yard return by Ernie Roan sets up a first down on the 3-yard line for the Dolphins.
And the Dolphins are going to have to put the ball in here. They've gotten down in that position a number of times tonight. Steve Howell is in at fullback. Gary Davis comes out.
Don Shula wants to see the Dolphins run the football over the goal line. They haven't done it.
First and goal from the 3. Don Strock calls a timeout. And he's going to go to the sideline and talk with Don Shula and John Sandusky.
You know, it's really, again, it's a little perplexing from this point because you know that they're going to be in a goal line type defense, so I don't know why you had to take a timeout.
Well, while Don Strock takes one, we're going to take a timeout with the score, Minnesota 7, Miami 3. We'll return with more action right after this pause.
Here's to good friends. Tonight is
Phil,
special.
I thought you were taking us to dinner.
I am. Okay, where is it? You're standing on it. What?
Hey, I suppose he got Lowenbrow, too.
Yep.
You want the taste of a truly great American beer. Tonight, let it be Lowenbrow.
Bill, that was fantastic.
Hey, I only take my friends to the best places.
Today, we're all concerned with inflation and not really sure what can be done. Well, there is one financial institution that's doing something, Hollywood Federal. With their telephone bill paying service, not only will you earn interest on the accounts you pay your bills from, but Hollywood Federal will even pay the postage. They'll also help you save by providing a free card that gives you a discount at over 1,000 merchants. So the next time you hear a financial institution talk about service, ask them about ours, Hollywood Federal.
A good look at Bud Grant on the sideline, the head coach of the Minnesota Vikings. First and goal for Miami. The ball is at the 3. 2 young offensive linemen in the alignment for Miami, Cleveland Green and Jeff Tade. Let's see what Strock does here. The give is to Howell. There's a hole. He gets close, but not close enough. He's going to get down to the foot line. Matt Blair in on the tackle, so it'll present a second and goal from the 1.
That's an influence type play, Tony. What they do is they send Tony Nathan sprinting out to the right like it's going to be a pitch out to him, and they just turn around and he pivots and gives the ball back to Howell to the inside. And there's cross blocking between the center and the guard to open up that hole. Well executed play by the Dolphins.
Second and goal from the 1. 12:15 left to play in this first half. We have 3 tight ends in for Miami.
Howell should get the ball here.
The give is to Howell. Touchdown, Miami. Well, they punched it in.
They finally punched it in. Took him about 6 plays. Howell finding some blocking from Tony Nathan on the left side of the offensive line of the Dolphins and crosses the white stripe for a touchdown. Last week they had problems against Seattle getting across the goal line running the football, and tonight they had problems. So I'm glad for Dolphins and Don Shula to see that get across the line on the ground.
Uwe von Schumann in for the conversion out of the hold of Don Strock. The snap by Kuchenberg. The kick is up. It's good. So the Dolphins now take a 10-7 lead. As we said at the outset, Miami going for their 11th consecutive preseason victory. Not a bad crowd here. It was sparse at the beginning, but I guess with the fact that the rain has stopped, we've had some people come out here. Well, there's something new and exciting. Nick, we're going to take another look at an exciting run here, and then we'll do this little promo.
We'll run it 5 more times because it's a 1-yard plunge by Steve Howell. This will not go down in the annals of great plays in the NFL, but it's for your viewing, and it's a touchdown.
There's something new and exciting coming your way here in South Florida. It's Channel 4's PM Magazine. You'll be invited to come along for a different experience every weekday night with PM's co-hosts Jerry Pinacoli and Karen Kelly. Something's coming to 7:30 that you can look forward to beginning September 8th here on Channel 4. Don Besselou into kick. Eddie Payton deep for Minnesota. And there's a look at Eddie Payton. This is all he does for the Vikings, is return kicks. But he's not going to get a chance. Yes, he is. The ball goes by Doug Pascal. Payton is going to bring it up the middle. But he's met by Don Besselou and Bill Barnett. Bruce Hardy's also went on the tackle along with Ron Hill.
It's amazing. I watched Don Besselou kick off in practice, Tony, and the man booms him 3-4 yards into the end zone every time. But when he gets up to kick off in a game, I think he gets up a little tight and he just tops the football. He's kicking the top of the ball instead of getting the meat of it.
Minnesota, 1st and 10. The ball at their own 31-yard line. Tommy Kramer still in at quarterback. He's going to throw it. Has some time. He hits his back. Ted Brown over the middle. He's brought down by A.J. Dewey. It looks like it might be just a little bit shy of the first down. It'll be a pickup of 9, so it'll be 2nd down and 1.
You know, Ted Brown was absolutely timid catching him when he caught that football, Tony, and he turned up the field when the tackler come up to make the tackle. Instead of lowering his shoulder and trying to get that extra half a yard or yard for the first down, he just was content to be tackled. And you know, that can't be, you know, very, very, it really has to upset the Minnesota coaches to see that. This is a man they were counting on to really turn the running game, lack of running game, into something special, and he hasn't.
2nd down and 1. The ball is at the 40-yard line. Terry LeCount and Ahmad Rashad are your wide receivers. The give is to Ricky Young. He has the first down. Brought down by Vern Denherter, Rusty Chambers, and Ernie Rohn. That will be good enough for the first down. The ball will be spotted at the 43-yard line of Minnesota. What do you think of Dewey as a linebacker thus far from what you've seen?
Well, the man is quick enough. I mean, he really is. He has the good moves. He has good agility. And the fact is that he's so big and he can't gain any more weight than his 245 pounds that he has right now. So this may be a good position for him.
1st and 10. The ball at the Minnesota 43. That's Terry LeCount in motion. The give is to Ted Brown. Tries to get up the alley. Brought down by Carl Barisic. A.J. Dewey in there. So that'll be a pickup of 6, 2nd and 4. The ball will be spotted at the 49-yard line. A good look at Ted Brown. He is the replacement for Chuck Foreman.
I don't think so. In no way are you going to tell me this man is going to replace Chuck Foreman. Foreman was just a super back, running the football, blocking, catching the ball coming out of the backfield. This man has yet to show any ability as far as I'm concerned.
2nd and 4, the ball at the 49. Guy Benjamin is warming up on the Miami sideline. This is Ricky Young. Kim Bocamper had him. He slipped through his hands. Don McNeil had him. He slipped through his hands. Good enough for the first down. Down to the Miami 40. Ernie Rohn in on the stop finally. A 10-yard pickup.
You talk about determination. Watch it. This is determination in action. Watch the leg work of Ricky Young here. He makes his move up the field. Good block by Brown. But watch the leg action of Ricky Young. Fighting, scratching, trying to get every yard he can get. Finally brought down. But what a super effort by Ricky Young. Not only can he catch the football, this man can run.
Ricky Young has led his team in one category every year he's been in professional football, either rushing the ball or catching the ball. 1st and 10, the ball at the Miami 40. Tommy Kramer doesn't like what he sees and calls a timeout. And Nick, Tommy Kramer, much like the Seattle Seahawks and Sam Atkins and Jim Zorn, all the plays are called in from the sideline.
Well, you know, there's pros and cons as to whether or not a quarterback should, call his own plays. The pros say that, well, if he's calling his own plays, he gets to feel the tempo of the game. He gets a feeling what can work. When it comes in from the sideline, the coaches are not in the huddle. They don't know what the players are saying, because you get a receiver could come back to the huddle and say, look, I can beat him to the inside or I can beat him to the outside. Well, that's negated by the fact that the play comes in from the sideline because you can't take advantage of what your receiver is telling you. But on the other hand, the coaches take this point of view. Listen, we have spotters upstairs. We are seeing exactly what the defenses are. We are seeing what they're doing in certain situations. Therefore, we can call a play ahead of time and take advantage of the situation defense that is being played. So you take your pick. Tom Landry's been calling them very successfully for many years for the Dallas Cowboys, and Bud Grant certainly is successful at Minnesota.
This is a pivotal game for a number of players because the next NFL cut comes on Tuesday, and the teams have to get down to the 50-player limit, and in more often than not, the 28 teams will have to trim at least 10 players.
Now, some players the Dolphins may be looking at either to trade or to cut. I mean, guys who have not played. I mean, Neil Cozy has not played a down so far, I don't believe, in the preseason. And that's, you know, there's a fellow who started almost all the 16 games for the Dolphins last year at free safety.
Play is about to resume. First and 10, the ball at the 40. 8:45 left to play in this opening half. 10-7 Miami. Play action. Kramer back to pass. Being pressured by Dewey. The ball was intended for Terry LeCount. A little bit low. Covered there by Rusty Chambers. Good pressure by Dewey on that last play. Kramer now 7 of 12 for 56 yards. Incidentally, Ron Yeri will not be playing tonight. As a matter of fact, they don't expect him back until at least the first or second regular season game. He's out with an ankle injury, a broken bone in that ankle.
The old Warhorse replaced A.J. Dewey, number 53, Bob Matheson, at the right linebacker position.
Second and 10, the ball at the 40. 8:39 left to play in this opening half. To give us to Ted Brown up the middle. Ernie Roan and Bob Matheson in on the stop. It'll be a pickup of 5. It'll be 3rd and 5, the ball at the 35.
Well, this is where Ricky Young, number 34, was so effective for Minnesota last year. One of his 70-some-odd receptions is coming out of the backfield in this type of a situation. Let's see if Kramer goes to him now.
The nickel defense is in for Miami. Mike Kozlowski is the nickel man. 3rd and 5, 8 minutes left to play. The shotgun again. We will see this most of the evening on 3rd and long situations. Kramer back to pass. He's going over the top. He has his man Ahmad Rashad, brought down by Kozlowski. That's good enough for a first down. A 13-yard pickup. The ball down to the Miami 21. 1st and 10 for Minnesota.
That's a heck of a combination, Tony, when you have Rashad coming out from one side and Ricky Young coming out on the same side. Now watch Rashad come down here. He's working against the rookie McNeil, but it's a zone defense. You see McNeil just falls off him. That's not his responsibility, and you can't lay the blame on McNeil. That was Kozlowski's man to come in there and make that tackle.
7:19 left to play in this half. 1st and 10. We hope you're enjoying this game. It's had some action in it thus far. 1st and 10 for Minnesota. Ricky Young behind the good block of Ted Brown on Eddie Taylor. Young cut inside that block of Brown for a pickup of 4. So it'll be 2nd and 6. The ball to 17.
One thing Ted Brown has been doing very well tonight is blocking. But Ricky Young, he's the workhorse of this Minnesota backfield. Again, pretty good blocking by the Minnesota line. You see Taylor get knocked to the ground by Brown, but watch the 53 Matheson come over here, and he'll help make the tackle right there. He's the one who slows down Ricky Young and is able to contain that run.
Robert Miller has replaced Ricky Young in the backfield, so he will join Ted Brown. Kramer sprinting to his right. Intended for Terry LeCount, but batted away by Kim Bocamper. Don McNeil is also in the area. And Bo is really having a good preseason. He's having a great camp. The coaches say he's doing things instinctively now. He feels more comfortable at that position, even though he was an All-Pro in 1979. The nickel defense is in for Miami. 3rd and 6. The ball at the 17-yard line of the Dolphins. 6:21 left to play in this opening period. You have noticed that the Vikings will throw the ball a lot. Their offensive line is crippled. They do not run the ball very well. That is Robert Miller in motion. Kramer to the air again. Being forced out of the pocket. Sprinting to his right. He has the first down, brought down by Rusty Chambers.
Again, the thing that Kramer does best here, he sits in the pocket, but once he sees Ernie Roan pinned to the inside, he sees the lane, he just sprints to the outside. Now he knows he has the first down. Watch him direct Ted Brown here to make the block. See him? He's directing him to go after Blackwood here, and he does, and he just fights his way for a first down. Bud Grant holding his breath to see if Kramer gets up in one piece, which he does.
The ball inside the 10 at the 8. 5:37 left to play in this opening half. Ricky Young is back in the game, along with Ted Brown in the backfield. First and goal from the 8. 10-7 Miami on top. The give is to Ted Brown around the right side. He gets down to the 5. It'll be a pickup of 3. Carl Barisic in on the tackle. So it'll be second and goal from the 5. We are 10 seconds away from the 5-minute mark in this opening half.
Right now it's second down and about 6 or 7 to go for a touchdown, Tony. Kramer here likes to roll out in this situation. In other words, what he'll do is roll left towards the side marker or roll right. This way here it gives him an opportunity either to throw the football or to run it. Let's see if he does it here.
He has his wide receiver split to the same side, and now Sammy White comes in motion. Second and goal from the 5. The give is to Ted Brown. He may pick up 1. Carl Barisic leading the way for the Dolphin defense. Vern Denherter also in there. Ernie Roan, who's been very, very active tonight. Also in on the stop. There will be no gain on that play, so it'll be third and goal from the 5.
Ernie Roan is so valuable to this Miami defense because he can play any linebacker position. He's very quick, he has good hands, and he's very, very intelligent. A good addition to the Dolphin Ball Club because he's had such an injury-plagued career.
You have to admire an individual like Ernie Roan who has fought numerous injuries to come back and earn a spot on this club. Third and 5 from the 5. 4 minutes left to play in this opening half. A big play for the Vikings. A rush put on there by Bob Matheson. The pass is dumped off to Ricky Young. Eddie Taylor in on the coverage. There's someone down for Miami. It's not going to be enough for the first down, which would have been a touchdown. A pickup of 2, so it'll be 4th down and 3 from the 3. Bob Matheson really put some pressure on Kramer.
You see number 53 make Kramer throw the ball up and over, but good accuracy here to Ricky Young. And you see number 45 Taylor come up. That looks like 47 Blackwood is down again, Tony.
Yeah,
Blackwood was hurt all last year, and you hate to see something serious happen to him again. Bob Lundy, the trainer, along with Junior out there, they're both looking at him.
If we can take a look at that replay again, we will see Ahmad Rashad apply a block to Blackwood on that right leg. Now, I'm not sure if it's to the thigh or the knee. Now, there is Blackwood. Now, watch Rashad, the block coming up right there. And, boy, it hits that knee, doesn't it, Nick?
Well, it's his knee and also his thigh, Tony. It looked to me like he got him in the thigh. You have to remember the defensive backs, and like many of the defensive backs throughout the league, don't wear thigh pads because they think that it restricts them from moving. So when you do take a blow on the thigh, it really is painful. It seems to me that's what it was. Blackwood got it in the thigh.
Well, he's walking off under his own power, so that looks good. Rick Danmeyer will try a field goal here. Steve Dills will hold. He, of course, is the backup to Tommy Kramer. The ball will be spotted at the 10, so it'll be a 20-yard field goal attempt. Kick is up, and it's good. So we now have a tie score. And with 3:49 remaining here in the second quarter, let's pause for this timeout with the score tied at 10.
McDonald's presents a whole new way to love chicken.
Hey, that looks good. It's a hot chicken sandwich.
Nobody makes chicken like McDonald's. Plump tender chicken cooked a special way. Crunchy golden brown on the outside and juicy on the inside. Ooh.
It is different. Delicious.
We add lettuce and tasty sauce and serve it hot on a toasted sesame seed bun.
Nobody can do it
It's going to be a hit.
like the fellows can.
Yes, sports fans, they're coming to play the Jocks Come to Play game at Tom McCann's.
Winning isn't everything. It's the only thing.
Grand prize is this one-of-a-kind MGB limited edition. Other winners get 250 Ross 10-speed bicycles or 2,500 pairs of Jocks.
It's not whether you win or lose, it's how you play the game.
Plus thousands of pairs of Jock socks and bonus discounts on Jock's Dinosaurs. Play the Jocks Come to Play game at all Tom McCann stores.
And win one for the Gifford.
That scoring drive by Minnesota covered 66 yards at 14 plays. 8 minutes and 11 seconds ticked off the clock, consummated by a 21-yard field goal by Dan Meyer. There's a look at Don Besselou. Brady Savage will kick off for the Minnesota Vikings. And here's the kick. Besselou will take it at his 3. He's going up the right side of the field. And he picks up some yardage. You have to be impressed with the special teams thus far this evening. Brought down by Keith Nord. Don Besselou from Georgia Tech. A 33-yard return for Don Besselou. It'll be 1st and 10 for Miami at the 36.
It's a good ball to run back, short, not too high, but he finds. Look at the blocking up there by those green shirts. Besselou finding the alley again, fighting his way, driving his legs. A good return by Don Besselou.
3:36 left to play in this opening half. Burton Lawless is in the offensive line, and Guy Benjamin is now directing the Miami offense. He's going to put it up on the very first play. The pass intended for fullback Bob Torrey. Scott Studwell in on the coverage. Mark Mullaney, some good pressure on Guy Benjamin. Number 65 is Burton Lawless. He just left your picture there. 35, of course, is Nick DeQuinto, trying to make this club a free agent. Elmer Bailey has joined the Miami offense.
Bob Torrey's also in the backfield, Tony. And this Mark Mullaney, number 77, has just been so impressive tonight, rushing from his left defensive end position. Been putting pressure on the quarterbacks all night long.
We have a young offensive line in for Miami. Dave Roller, boy, was he trying to prove his quickness. He claims that Dwight Stevenson or Burton Lawless, he's pointing at one of them, moved.
They're all pointing. I didn't do it, you did it. No, you did it. You moved. No, I didn't.
Dave Roller is the comedian on this team.
Well, someone moved in green.
Dave Roller, number 76, started something in the Minnesota Viking camp called the King Ugly Contest.
False start, number 65, offense, 2nd down.
That was against Burton Lawless.
Well, he just wanted to hear his name over the public address system, that's all.
Well, Don Shula said the first day that Lawless practiced with the team, when he went into a set position, he used the Dallas set. He got up and got down again, and everybody just broke up. There's a pitch to Nick DeQuinto. Around the right side, brought down by Dave Roller and Kurt Knopf. 3:20 left to play in this opening period. Nice block by Dwight Stevenson out front. That was a pickup of 4, so it'll be 3rd down and 11 for Miami. The ball at the 35-yard line. We have now hit the 3-minute mark of this opening half.
Guy Benjamin likes number 88, Elmer Bailey. Let's see if he works with him here.
Well, here we go again. Now they claim that Joe Rose moved.
Well, the defense obviously moved first. Let's see if Joe Rose is the one who will get the infraction. Nope. That evens it all up. So at the end of 3 plays, it's 2 offsides, 1 against Miami and 1 against Minnesota. So we're back where we started.
Encroachment foul, number 49, defense, 3rd down.
That was Keith Nord getting a little anxious.
They like Nord too, Tony.
The ball is spotted at the 40. 3rd and 6. Benjamin's going to pass. He's being pressured there by Sammy White. or rather James White applied some pressure. The pass was incomplete.
Looked like Hoyt Wilhelm on that. There's a knuckler coming out of the backfield, but his arm was hit as he tried to release the football.
Randy Holloway also applied some real good pressure there on God Benjamin. 4th and 6. George Roberts into punt for the first time in this ball game. He's having a good preseason, averaging 42 yards a kick. Kevin Miller back deep for Minnesota. Here's the boot by Roberts. Miller takes it at his 25. He's met there after a 1-yard pickup by Norris Thomas and Bill Barnett. 35-yard kick by George Roberts.
But Mark Denard, he centered that ball. It looked like a high-fly ball going to Roberts. He had to adjust himself. That's why he didn't get off quite as good a kick as he could have.
Roberts is a great athlete. Recovered very quickly on that. 1st and 10 for Minnesota. The ball at the 28-yard line. 2:33 left to play in this opening half.
I'm surprised to see as many starters for Minnesota playing as long as they have, because they really weren't supposed to play more than a quarter.
1st and 10 for Minnesota. Tommy Kramer is still in at quarterback. That is Bob Tucker in motion. Kramer back to pass. Being pressured by Dewey. Dewey gets him on the ground. The pass goes awry. Out of bounds.
I like that. Awry. That's the value of A.J. Dewey, number 77. You put him in as a right linebacker, and when he gets down to with a three-point stance, where he's really much more comfortable, he can really come and put that pressure on. The man does have that type of ability and agility. Let's watch from the left side of the screen. You can see number 77. Watch him ring Tommy Kramer's neck right about here. Kramer pumps, but Dewey with his good agility rings his neck and makes him throw the ball out of bounds. It's a super rush by Dewey. I think he likes it out there, Tony. I really do. I think the man really feels comfortable out there.
2nd down and 10. The ball is at the 28-yard line. Kramer again back to pass, and again there's pressure through the hands of Ricky Young. A.J. Dewey and Carl Barisic applied some great pressure on Tommy Kramer, forcing him out of the pocket.
Now that time, A.J. Dewey was a defensive lineman playing defensive end and came in from that position. He was not playing as a linebacker.
That'll present Tommy Kramer with a 3rd and 10 at the 28. 2:19 left to play in the half. The nickel defense is in for Miami.
Better watch out for Sammy White here. They had only thrown one ball to him tonight. Number 85 for Minnesota.
The shotgun. Kramer bobbling that snap. The pass is incomplete, intended for Ricky Young. And a lot of Dolphin jerseys around that ball. Led by number 28, Don McNeil, the number 1 draft pick from Alabama.
As I look at this offensive line for Minnesota, a man like Jim Langer would really provide some stability for that line. Now, my understanding is they offered the Miami Dolphins an 8th-round draft choice for Jim Langer. Isn't that ridiculous?
8th round.
And I heard Miami wanted a 2nd-round draft choice, and you might think they'd be able to compromise around the 3rd. Minnesota needs him desperately. There's no doubt about it.
4th and 10. Greg Coleman back to punt for Minnesota. Tony Nathan is deep for Miami. And here's the kick. A nice kick. Nathan will take it on his 25. And he doesn't get anywhere. Doesn't get anywhere. Keith Nord was down there like lightning, bringing him down. A 47-yard kick by Greg Coleman out of Florida A&M. And there's a good look at Tony Nathan from Alabama.
Number 37, Mike Kozlowski, made a block. Tony Nathan had some running room going up the right side, but Kozlowski was just overpowered that time.
1st and 10 for Miami. The ball at their own 26-yard line. Guy Benjamin still in at quarterback. The receivers, Elmer Bailey and Eugene Bird. Nick Giaquinto and Bob Torrey are your setbacks. Benjamin back to pass. He has Giaquinto. He's hit immediately by Scott Studwell. The ball ball will be spotted at the 32-yard line, so it'll be a pickup of 6, 2nd down and 4. And that is the 2-minute warning. With the score, Miami 10, Minnesota 10. We'll return right after this.
Here's to good friends. Tonight is kind of special.
It's just right. That'll be a full moon. Hardly any wind. And the lowing brow's cold. Sure beats the office.
When you want the taste of a truly great American beer, tonight, let it be low and brow.
Sure hope the fish don't bother us. Let it be low and brow.
Say hello to the world in the sea. There's a lot to see at the Miami Seaquarium. Lovable Lolita, 4 tons of leaping killer whale. Teams of acrobatic dolphins. Flipper of TV and movie fame with the graceful aquamaids. The Miami Dolphin Buddies playing to win. And Salty the sea lion and his clowning friends diving in for the fun of a great day at the Miami Seaquarium.
Come and say hi to the world in the sea. There's a lot to see at the aquarium.
Back to the Orange Bowl, tied up, 2 minutes. Actually, 1:55 left to play in this opening half. 10-10 between Minnesota and Miami. And a balmy evening here.
And that last play, Tony, I noticed that Joe Rose, the tight end, was being covered by a linebacker, McNeil. Let's see if that's picked up by the scouts up here and sent down to Benjamin, because that's a mismatch, and Joe Rose could beat him.
It'll be 2nd and 4 for Guy Benjamin and the Miami Dolphins. The ball at the 32-yard line of Miami. 1:55 left to play in this opening half. The young defensive line in there, along with the new acquisition, Burton Wallace, who was acquired during the game last week in Seattle. Benjamin's going to throw it. Over the middle to Joe Rose, and Nick, you called it again. However, the pass was incomplete. A nice hit applied by Kurt Knopf. You called it.
Well, you know, you don't have to be a genius to do that, but that time he wasn't covered by the linebacker. They switched their defense. Dolphins had a good one on, but Minnesota read it very well. Now you have a 3rd down and 4. Normally, Greasy would go to his back coming out of the backfield, his halfback, and we call a weak back short option. What that means is the halfback can come out of the backfield and put a move on and go wherever he wants to try to get the 1st down. Let's see if Giaquino gets it here.
3rd down and 4 at the 32. Benjamin to Giaquino. He has the 1st down, brought down by Johnny Turner. The clock is ticking away. 1:40 now left in this half. Miami's 2-minute offense is in. 1st and 10. The ball at the 37-yard line of Miami.
Wallace moved again, number 65. He was in motion, and will be against Miami.
That has to be tough. I think he went into that Dallas set again, and it's got to be a hard habit to break.
Well, when you do it for 5 years, and if you don't do it, they jump all over your back.
Number 65, offense, 1st down.
He'll break that habit. He's an intelligent player, and a very good one.
First and 15 now. The ball at the 32 of Miami. 1:26 left to play in this opening half. Guy Benjamin directing the Miami offense.
Now that time, that is Roller who went off.
Boy, he is really fidgety tonight, isn't he?
Well, Roller's very quick for a big man.
He may be quick for a big man, but I want to tell you something. Twice he's taken advantage of miscues by Miami linemen, and twice he's been caught for jumping offside from the next play, so that negates that setback.
Number 76, defense.
Well, what he expected, Tony, was a quick count. He expected Guy Benjamin to go on a quick count, then he was just trying to get the edge. But Benjamin outfoxed him. There's a real good matchup over here on the left side. Elmer Bailey, number 88, and Willie Teal, number 37. They love Willie Teal as a defensive back.
Benjamin over the middle, intended for Bailey, and Willie Teal on the coverage. Willie Teal is a 2nd-round draft pick out of LSU. He played with David Woodley.
They expect Teal, number 37, to beat out Bobby Bryant before the season is over. Watch the great move. He jumps up to the inside of Elmer Bailey and almost intercepts it. Look at that reaction. That's just real good movement by a cornerback.
And some more pressure applied to God Benjamin from Mark Mullaney, who is having an excellent preseason. 3 sacks in the first quarter last week against Kansas City. In fact, the entire defensive front for Minnesota had a total of 10 sacks last week against the Kansas City Chiefs. 2nd down and 10. The ball at the 37-yard line. 1:19 left to play in this opening half. Benjamin to throw. And he's going deep for Eugene Bird. Out of bounds.
Oh, did Benjamin get leveled? Oh, did he get leveled by Mullaney? I mean, he's lucky to get that ball released, never mind putting it on target. That was just a super throw by Benjamin under great pressure.
Nick, you know very well how the Minnesota Vikings go to camp late. They're the last team to go to camp. However, their defensive line went into camp 10 days early.
It paid off because they're just coming off that football.
3rd down and 10 at the 37. Benjamin, more pressure by Mullaney. Incredible pressure by Mark Mullaney.
He is beating Eric Latsko to death over there, number 68 for the Dolphins. He just comes right around Latsko. Latsko does not have the good feet on those particular plays to wheel him out to the outside. His job, when Mullaney makes that outside move, is to wheel him to the outside to give Benjamin an opportunity to step up in the pocket, and he's not doing it.
4th down and 10 for Miami. The ball at the 37. George Roberts into punt. Eddie Payton back deep. 1:06 left to play in this opening half, and I'm sure Minnesota would like to get on the scoreboard. They might try to block this kick. They are very good at blocking kicks. They don't get this one. Roberts gets it off. Payton gets it at the 26-yard line, but Jeff Allen is there and keeps him there. A nice play on special teams by Jeff Allen. A 46-yard kick by George Roberts. We're inside a minute. There's Eddie Payton. As I said, all Eddie Payton does for Minnesota is run back kicks. Next Sunday, you're invited to share your Labor Day weekend with Jerry Lewis and the Stars when they come together for the Muscular Dystrophy Telethon starting at 9 Sunday night. Join our local co-host, Chuck Zink, and my good friend Dick Fennell. Be sure to stay up with the Stars, because even if you miss a little, you miss a lot.
New defensive line coach for Minnesota this year is Tom Cicchini, and he just marveled at the work that defensive line has done so far in preseason.
The shotgun in for Minnesota. Kramer back to pass. He hits Ricky Young. Ricky Young is hit by Rusty Chambers, but he falls forward to the 35-yard line. That'll be a pickup of 9, so it'll be 2nd and 1. The clock is ticking down. We're at 40 seconds here in the opening half. The shotgun again.
45.
Kramer to Joe Sensor. He's hit by Foley.
A lot of arm tackles out there, Tony. A lot of arm tackles. But the Dolphins are very content to let the Minnesota receivers catch the ball in front of them. Nothing deep.
1st and 10. The ball at the 43. Kramer over the middle. Ahmad Rashad incomplete. Glenn Blackwood, who's back in the game, was in on the coverage.
Now with 8 seconds left, Tony, I would expect that Kramer will just go deep, hoping either for a pass interference or a nice catch by one of his receivers.
And this will probably be the last play of the half, a 10-10 tie between Minnesota and Miami. The two teams have played 10 preseason games. They've split them in half, 5-5. Miami, of course, has the edge when it counts, 3-1. And that big Super Bowl victory is one of them. Kramer is having trouble handling the snap. He gets out of the pocket. He's being pressured. Dewey hits him, but he gets away from him. And he's going deep. That was Don Betzlew playing center field, much like Rupert Jones did last week. He went to the wall, and that's the end of the half. You know, all of the great moments in the National Football League down through the years have been captured and presented brilliantly to millions of viewers by an organization called NFL Films, the official filmmakers of the league, and they are great ones. You see their work every week on 3 networks and in all 28 team highlight films. Well, 3 years ago at Super Bowl 12 in New Orleans, NFL Films made a film about themselves and how they operate. In a minute, you'll go behind the scenes with NFL Films, and my friends, it is a treat. So the score at halftime, Miami 10, Minnesota 10.
your time of year on the Pinella Suncoast. The prices are right, the weather's perfect, and the best beaches in Florida are all yours.
Come for it all.
We shoot 375 miles of film each season. Now, if you put that on a projector and ran it continuously, it would go for 40 days and 40 nights. We shoot 200 football games every year. And of course, that includes the Super Bowl, which will begin right here in a few hours in New Orleans Superdome. Now, normally, we only use 2 cameramen to photograph a game. But because this is the Super Bowl, and since the fate of the universe is riding on the outcome of this game, we'll be using 10 cameramen. And in addition to the 10 cameramen, we'll be using 25 additional soundmen, technicians, isolation directors, and helpers. And just like the 2 teams that'll be playing today, we too will have a pre-game meeting to discuss our strategy.
This is the first time we're going to be shooting a Super Bowl at night, so we have a longer span of concentration. But we are a team, again, the old cliche and the corny line. And all I want to say is this: we're all going to start this thing together, and we're going to finish it together. And everybody's going to chip in like we always do and help each other, and let's have another great game.
Perhaps the biggest influence in sports filmmaking is right here, television. Every football game is televised. Now, for us to just be at a game and film it the same way television covers it would be to duplicate what you've already seen, but even worse, it would be abusing our profession as filmmakers. So we're presented with a unique challenge. We're trying to make a film out of something that you've already seen. Now, how many people would go see Star Wars or Jaws if you knew all the exciting chase sequences, if you knew how it ended, and you knew all the dialogue? Well, that's what our problem is. We're doing a film about something you've already seen. So if someone were to ask me, how would I define our job at NFL Films, I'd say it is to bring a new understanding and a new perspective to something that's already been seen. To give a creative treatment to reality. Or in other words, to make a film and not an instant replay. Whenever we shoot a football game, we have 3 basic types of coverages. Now right here, this is our main camera position. And for the Super Bowl, we'll have 4 main cameras. 1 in this end zone, 1 in the other end zone, and 2 on the 50-yard line. Now we call these cameramen trees because, as you can see, he's rooted in the position, he's up above the action, and he can't move. We also have men who work right here, right on the ground, and we call them moles.
So instead of trying to flip-flop every time when the balls change, I'll be upfield one series, you'll be upfield the next series.
So if you move up, I'll move up with you.
Yeah, right.
I'll take your place and you'll move on down.
Right, we'll just stay in relative position.
We've got moles and we've got trees. Now we've got one other cameraman, and it's his job to shoot everything but the action. He's only interested in the human interest aspect of the game. The coaches as they walk up and down the sidelines, the players on the bench, the fans. Now because he has to be a little more subtle than a mole, and he has to pop up in unusual places and get candid expressions, we call him a weasel. Now, Paul Cézanne, the famous French impressionistic painter, once said that all art is selected detail. Well, that's the job of a weasel, to get details. A weasel never knows what's happening on the field. The only way he'll know what's going on in the game is to look up in the scoreboard. Now, I'm a weasel. I've been to 11 Super Bowls, and I've never seen a play.
Camera roll 1, Super Bowl. Broncos and Dallas.
away from kickoff right now, and I think every cameraman is haunted by the same frightening and yet most challenging aspect of sports photography. And that's the fact that today there'll be no retakes. There'll be no second chances. One mistake, and we can miss the one play that all these thousands and thousands of fans and millions more on television are going to want to see again. And today, we can't miss it. Over, the player's job is finished. But ours, well, we're just half done. For us, the second half begins right here in our developing and processing laboratories in Philadelphia. Here, another team takes over. There are no cameramen or soundmen now, but rather chemists and laboratory technicians. We shot 57,000 feet of film in the Super Bowl, but it's only a half-hour show, so I'll be able to use only about 850 feet. Now, it's my job as the editor to tame and shape the raw vision of the cameraman. Now, on these film barrels and these hooks, I've hung all the usable scenes of Super Bowl 12. The best action shots from the most revealing angles, the best shots of coaches, fans, players. The order in which I splice these film strips together will determine the storyline of the show. The length of each strip I use will determine the pace and tempo of the storyline. Now, as I'm editing, I'm also working on the script. The more you say, the less people will remember. Words should be treated like medicine. If they're carefully measured and carefully prescribed, they can work wonders. But an overdose can be fatal. Now, music is one of the most fascinating elements of filmmaking. The ancient philosophers believed that music was one of the basic elements of the universe. Walt Whitman called music the universal language of mankind. When you think about it, music plays a vital part in our everyday life. We get married to music. We get buried to music. We make love to music. We go to war to music. Music hits us directly at the gut level, and we respond to it instinctively. Now, in filmmaking, we can use music to create a mood or an atmosphere that could never be achieved with just pictures or words. John Facenda is the voice of NFL films, and he's narrated every Super Bowl film. He's not a sportscaster, but a news commentator, and he has a feeling for the weight and tone of words.
Right from the very first play, Super Bowl 12 was a coach's nightmare.
It was fiercely fought, but frightfully flawed.
The volume of the music, the voice level, the intensity of the crowd noise, and the sounds of the scrimmage line must be delicately controlled to achieve the proper dramatic balance.
4 times in the first half.
In Super Bowl 12, it was a lesson on how a superbly conditioned team of eager athletes can pry open a tough, hard-hitting game and extract from it the stuff of victory.
Now today you hear a lot about filmmaking being an art form, and I've heard so many directors and photographers referred to as artists. Well, I believe that an artist is anyone who takes pride in doing his job well. And a well-made film is no different than any other well-made product. It's not the work of one artist, but of many.
Hey, listen now. 4 quarters, 60 minutes, and we're the champions. Yeah! Let's go, baby!
A political quiz. Senator Richard Stone is for a tax cut, true or false? Both. This May he was for it, this June he's against it. Senator Stone thinks oil company profits are too high, true or false? False. He voted for big oil and cut $100 billion from the windfall profits tax. Richard Stone supports solar energy, true or false? Both. After criticism, he finally decided it was a good idea. Don't you think Senator Stone has failed this test? Bill Gunner thinks so.
The next time you reach for an ice-cold bottle of Coca-Cola, look for these caps with the $+ sign. Because underneath there's a letter or a number. A number means you're an instant cash winner of up to $100. Hey, I won! Wow! Use the letters to spell Coca-Cola and you win a t-shirt just like mine. Hey, I won! Look for details on how to play Cash Caps Plus where you shop for Coke, and you could be wearing a winning smile.
Have a Coke and smile.
We'll return to the Orange Bowl with the Miami Dolphins versus the Minnesota Vikings preseason game after station identification.
Does your car engine run on after you turn off the key? Does it knock when you accelerate? You could solve your problems from the very first tankful of Amoco Premium Lead-Free. To find out, try the Amoco one-tank test. Let your gas tank run down near empty. Then get a full tank of higher-octane Amoco Premium Lead-Free. If your car doesn't have these problems, use lead-free Amoco in the blue pump.
That's Amoco's lead-free choice.
You expect more from a leader.
Hi, I'm Howard Schnellenberger, head football coach of the Miami Hurricanes. The Hurricanes are practicing hard to prepare for the upcoming season. We're ready to deliver exciting Hurricane football at its best. This year our home games are at 4 o'clock, so you and your entire family can enjoy all the action and color together. By purchasing a season ticket, you support your Hurricanes in its most essential way. Call the Hurricane ticket office today.
Hurricane football, 1980. You'll get a kick out of it.
You'll enjoy what's coming September 8th.
Hope you enjoyed your halftime presentation. Quite interesting to get behind the scenes with NFL films. 10-10 here at the half. Let's give you some statistics. Miami has only 11 yards rushing. Is that correct? It is. 11 yards rushing, 59 for the Vikings, 111 yards passing for Miami, 80 for Minnesota. Total yards, 122 for Miami, 139 for the Vikings. Miami 7 of 18 through the air, and Minnesota 10 of 21 through the air. Miami had the ball for 10 minutes and 48 seconds. Minnesota 19 minutes and 12 seconds. And we're getting ready for the second half. You're looking at Rick Danmeyer. He will be kicking to Don Besselou. Here we go. Besselou will take it at his 2. He's had a good night thus far. He brings it up the right side. Across the 25-yard line. Hit by Larry Brune, a 28-yard return by Don Besselou. So Miami will put the ball in play. 1st and 10 at the 28-yard line, and Bob Greasy is in at quarterback. Jimmy Cefalo will be in at one wide receiver, Nat Moore the other wide receiver. Delvin Williams and Steve Howell will join Greasy in the backfield. And has Delvin Williams had one good preseason thus far? He looks ready to go, almost in mid-season form. 1st and 10 for Miami. The ball is at the 28-yard line. The give is to Delvin, but he's not going to get anywhere. He's met there by James Duck White. If you wonder why they call him Duck, it's because that's the way his feet look, according to the Viking officials anyway. No gain on the play, so it'll be 2nd down and 10, the ball at the 28-yard line. Bruce Hardy is in at tight end now for Miami. Cleveland Green is playing 1 tackle. Larry Little will be at guard. Mark Dennard at center. Ed Newman at the other guard, and Bob Kuchenberg at tackle. We expect to see some substitutions here in the second half of this game. 14-15 left to play in the third quarter. 2nd and 10 for Miami. The ball at the 28. Greasy's going to put it up. He's going for Jimmy Cephalo. Incomplete. Curtain off on the coverage. Did you enjoy your hot dog?
Oh, I certainly did. Orangeville hot dogs are very good. One thing you can rest assured of, as long as Bob Greasy's the quarterback, you're not going to see too many substitutions on the Dolphins. They're going to play with their first offensive line and most of the first receivers in there. So, 3rd down and 10 situation. Tough situation for Greasy. Gary Davis is in the backfield right now. Let's look for Bruce Hardy on this.
All right, 3rd and 10. Let's see what Greasy does. He's going over the middle for Bruce Hardy, and Hardy was wide open. Brought down by Keith Nord and Tommy Hannon. You called it again, a 38-yard reception.
Well, this is a good situation for Greasy. The strong safety candidate is right up on the line of scrimmage. Now Hardy, all he has to do is beat him deep, and he does. He puts a move on him and it takes it straight up the field. Greasy lays it out there perfectly. A well-executed play for the Dolphins and a big 1st down. They have a real drive going.
Hardy is one good athlete. I want to tell you, he is something else. 1st and 10, the ball at the 34-yard line of Minnesota. The give is to Delvin. He has some running room. He breaks to the outside, and look at those quick feet. Brought down by Matt Blair. He crosses the 30. The ball will be spotted at the 29-yard line, so that'll be a pickup of 5. 2nd and 5.
Good blocking up there. Look at number 66, Larry Little, number 64, Ed Newman, and a good quick feed of Delvin Williams. Delvin so far in preseason play has been averaging 6.4 yards a carry, and he keeps up that record right now. Look at the difference in the running game when he comes into the ball game.
The Dolphins are on the move. 2nd and 5, the ball at the 29. We're at the 12:45 mark of the 3rd period. Steve Howell over the right side. He has the 1st down. Crosses the 25-yard line. Brought down by Mark Mulaney. 1st and 10 for Miami.
Boy, just credit that to Delvin Williams. He came in there and made a good block on Matt Blair, set up that hole. First, Steve Howell getting the Dolphins another 1st down. You know, without Zonka in there, and this is really maybe a brash statement to make, Delvin Williams is playing harder. Because last year he had to split the honors with Zonka, and now he knows that he's going to have to carry the load for the Dolphins.
1st and 10, the ball at the Minnesota 23. Greasy directing the Miami offense. He's back to pass. He's going for Jimmy Cephalo. It's incomplete. A little bit short of Cephalo. Mulaney again with some good pressure.
Bob was really disgusted with himself on that because Cephalo had beaten Teal, the cornerback. He came down, moved inside, and it took him to the outside. He had Teal turned around, was wide open, and Bob just couldn't get the football to him.
So it'll be 2nd and 10 for Bob Greasy and the Miami Dolphins from the 23-yard line of Minnesota. Doug Sutherland has replaced James White in that defensive front for Minnesota. The give is to Delvin. Mark Dennard out in front. Delvin hesitates just a little bit. Finally brought down there by Scott Studwell, Willie Teal, and Tommy Hannon. It'll be a pickup of 2, so it'll be 3rd and 8. Gary Davis now joins the backfield in this possession down. 11:30 left to play in this 3rd period. The score is tied at 10.
So far in this drive, Tony, they've gone to Jimmy Cephalo into Bruce Hardy. They have not gone to Nat Moore. And Nat Moore is working against the rookie Teal from LSU. Let's see if he could be the key guy for Greasy.
We'll keep an eye on Nat. 3rd and 8. There's a flag thrown. Greasy is sacked. Brought down by Dave Roller, who has been an active defensive lineman tonight, but there is a flag down on the play.
In that case, it's usually holding. Let's see if it is against the Dolphins. Yep, it is. Holding against the Dolphins. You're going to see good pressure up the middle here. Number 76, Roller. Now keep your eye on him. He's working against 64, Ed Newman. Just makes a good move with his arm. It's called an up and over move. Denard can't get over there to help. Right away comes over and sacks Greasy. And there's the holding call on number 66, Larry Little. You saw it. Larry's trying to politic a little bit in there, but it didn't work. So Von Schaman will have another attempt at a field goal, Tony. He's 1 for 1 on the night.
4th and 15. Von Schaman will be attempting a 46-yard field goal out of the hold of Don Strock. And let's see if Uva can get it up. The kick is up. It was long enough, but a little wide to the left. So everything will remain the same, a tie score, 10-10. And we'll return with more action from the Orange Bowl after this timeout.
It's the last week of your Toyota dealer's August sales event. There's still lots of excitement, but you've got to get on the bandwagon now. Your Toyota dealers discover the deal days are almost over. We're moving on the last of the 1980s.
Forget high prices.
And discover summertime deals. You can discover a Toyota for a lot less than you think. Don't let the parade pass you by.
Here's to good friends. Tonight is kind of special. The beer.
Building inspector.
Hey, what are you guys doing here?
I didn't believe you two could build your own house.
Yeah, well, don't look.
It's not finished. Well, I guess we'll just take our Lowenbrow and go home. Well, maybe one quick look around.
When you want a taste of a truly great American beer, tonight, let it be Lowenbrow.
What are you going to do when you finish this place? Just what I'm doing right now.
10:54 left in this third quarter, 10-10. Miami and Minnesota battling it out here in the Orange Bowl. Stephen Dills has taken over at quarterback for the Vikings, a second-year man from Stanford. He was a backup to guide Benjamin until his senior year, and then he was a starter, and that's when he led the nation in passing. The give is to Ricky Young around the right side. Brought down by Mel Land and Bob Matheson. We have a pickup of about 5 yards, so it'll be second down and 5. Bill Barnett has joined that defensive line. Steve Shull is in there for Miami. A lot of young people getting some work now. As we told you on Tuesday, the Dolphins must cut 10 players to get down to the 50-player limit. That's the next to last cut. The ball is spotted at the 33. Second down. Dills to the air. Over the middle to Sammy White. Sammy White is brought down by Mike Kozlowski. That'll be good enough for a first down.
All this is here, Tony, the back clears out to his left, and then Sammy White comes up underneath the defense here, finds an opening. Middle linebacker Chambers can't get back in there. See him, he splits the zone between 51 and 53, Matheson and Chambers, and makes the reception for a first down for Minnesota.
13-yard pickup for White. First and 10 for the Vikings. The ball at the 46-yard line. 9:34 left to play in this third period. A 10-10 tie between these two clubs. A bad exchange from center. Dills falls on the ball, and Steve Shull comes in there to make sure he stays. So it'll be second down and 10. Carl Barisic comes out. The ball is spotted at the 46-yard line. This preseason has gone by fairly quick.
Sure has, and it'll be going by quicker for 10 guys on Tuesday. Because there are going to be some pretty good players who won't be part of the Dolphins going to New Orleans.
Second and 10, the ball at the 46-yard line. Dills back to pass. He gets some pressure from Shull. The ball intended for Rashad. He holds onto it. No, he doesn't. They call it incomplete. Don McNeil in on the coverage. Mel Land back there, as is Mike Kozlowski.
That'll give an indication of why Rashad caught 80 passes last year. Watch Dill step up in the pocket. Now watch the one-hand grab by Rashad here. He puts it up. He's trying to control it with his left hand. Lands all around him. He still almost brings it in, but the ball hits the ground. Well, the officials said the ball hit the ground. I don't know.
Ooh, that was a
But McNeil and Land were all over Rashad, and he still almost made that catch.
A tough call. 3 wide receivers in for Minnesota. 3rd and 10. 5 defensive backs in for Miami. So it's strength against strength. Shotgun. Dills backs to throw. He is pressured, and he is knocked down there by A.J. Dewey. And Dewey came in like a thunderbolt.
A.J. Dewey coming in from his right defensive end position. Watch number 77. You see Land trying to make a move from the outside. Baumhauer up the middle. He comes from the blind side. Dills doesn't see him. Dewey makes a good rush and pounds him to the ground. It's an 11-yard loss. Dewey on Dills.
And with 8:38 remaining in the third quarter, let's pause for this timeout.
McDonald's presents a whole new way to love chicken.
Hey, that looks good. It's a hot chicken sandwich.
Nobody makes chicken like McDonald's. Plump tender chicken cooked a special way. We add lettuce and tasty sauce and serve it hot on a toasted sesame seed bun.
Nobody can do it
It's going to be a hit.
like McDonald's can.
Now enjoy McDonald's new McChicken or chopped beefsteak sandwiches. Now serving from lunch to closing.
Homes like these you'd be proud to own. Are they really so expensive almost no one can buy? Not at all. Believe it or not, for less than $400 a month, you can own a home like this through the Kai's Company. Or for under $500 a month, you can be living in one like this today. Did you know that for less than $600 a month, you can buy a home like this through the Kai's Company? Even one like this for under $700 per month. Call your local Kai's office today and let Kai's experts show you the way.
Back at the Orange Bowl, Frank Myers injured for the Vikings, and that's one place they don't want to have another injury, and that's in their offensive line. They're have already been decimated with hurts. 4th and 21. That is Skip Johnson in to boot for the Vikings. Tony Nathan deep for Miami. Not a very good kick off the side of his foot. And it will go out of bounds at around the Miami 42-yard line. So it'll be 1st and 10 from there for Miami. A 23-yard kick by Skip Johnson.
That's got to hurt his chances for making the Minnesota team. Because last year, Greg Coleman punted for the 41.4 average. And so far in exhibition, he's kicking right around 40. So bringing in someone from Seattle like Johnston who kicks that poorly doesn't give him much of a chance to make the ball club.
1st and 10 for Miami. The ball at their own 42-yard line. 8:09 left to play in this third period. A tie score, 10-10. Bob Greasy directing the Dolphin attack. The pitch is to Delvin Williams around the left side. A nice block by Steve Howell.
Williams on the pitch.
A real nice block by Steve Howell. Scott Studwell in on the tackle. A pickup of 5, so it'll be 2nd and 5. The ball at the 47.
The whole left side of that offensive line, you have to look at Newman, Kuchenberg, and then Nat Moore. And then Steve Howell making the big block, cleared the path for Delvin Williams. Just so much more effective. 11 yards rushing in the first half without Delvin Williams, and well over that in the second half already.
2nd and 5. The ball at the 47-yard line. Greasy has Hardy wide open. He's brought down by Tommy Hannon. Hardy trying to stretch it out for the first down. Let's see where the official spots it. It's just a little bit short. We'll call it a pickup of 4, so it'll be 3rd down and 1. The ball at the 49-yard line of Minnesota.
Be a double tight end situation for the Dolphins. Hardy will come in, stay in the ball game, and Ron Lee will come in the ball game for Jimmy Cephalo. So we'll have double tight ends, short yardage offense for the Dolphins.
Might Greasy gamble and go long?
Here, no, I don't think so. I'll be very surprised if he does. He has a drive going. I think he'll stay on the ground.
3rd and 1, 6:45, 10-10, third period. Delvin has the ball, and he has the first down. He's met by Scott Studwell. So the drive remains alive. First down and 10. The ball at the Minnesota 46-yard line. Jimmy Cephalo comes in. Ronnie Lee comes out.
Doesn't look like Delvin needs an awful lot of playing time in these preseason games to get ready for the season. You really wonder how long Don Shula will play Delvin Williams today.
First and 10, the ball at the 46-yard line of Minnesota. The give is to Howell. He's not going to get anywhere. He's met by the entire middle of that defensive front. Matt Blair, Scott Studwell, and Fred McNeil. All three in there. Matter of fact, they said he lost one, so it'll be 2nd and 11 from the 47. 5:43 left to play in this third quarter.
6 defensive backs now being employed by Minnesota. Not 5, but 6.
Well, you can't call it the nickel.
What do you call that? The sextet. The Viking sextet, led by
Keith Nord. 2nd and 11. Greasy has some time. Over the top to Cephalo. Beautiful reception by Jimmy Cephalo. Despite 6 defensive backs, Greasy threads that secondary. First down, a 16-yard reception.
What happens here is Nab Moore is down on what they call a streak pattern, straight down. Cephalo waits for him to clear, then he comes up underneath Nab Moore. Right here, squares it up over the middle, just in front of the defensive back. Makes a nice adjustment on the reception. Beautiful catch by Cephalo for a big first down, and the drive continues.
And one of the reasons Greasy had some time was because a good block was put on by Delvin Williams on Mark Mullaney. First down and 10 for Miami. They have a methodical drive going. The ball is at the 31. We're at 4:35 of the third period. The give is to Delvin. He's wrapped up, though, by Mullaney. We'll give him a pickup of 1, so it'll be 2nd down and 9. The ball at the 30.
You have a 2nd down and 9 situation. This is a situation where down on the 30-yard line, Bob Greasy likes a screen pass. He figures the defense knows he's going to throw the football. The defensive line is going to put a big pass rush on, so he can set up it by offset that by the screen. Let's see if it happens.
2nd and 9. The ball at the 30. Cephalo and Moore split wide. Williams and Howell in the backfield with Greasy.
No, it won't be a screen.
Slant in to Cephalo, incomplete. There is a flag thrown. Tommy Hannon and Keith Nord in on the coverage. Pass interference against Minnesota.
This is awfully close. He's going to Cephalo. This is awfully close by Hannon here. Watch right here. Greasy puts the ball up over the middle. Now watch him reach over. Pass interference for sure. He reached over the top. Now Daryl Harris is into the ball game. You can't make contact with the receiver when the ball is in the air. That's pass interference.
1st and 10, the ball at the 20. Uriel Harris has joined Nat Moore as a wide receiver. Delvin Williams. Over the right side, picking his way. Fred McNeil hit him. Along with Ken Sanders.
Those are just good, tough yards that Delvin's getting. What he's doing is he's making an adjustment at the line of scrimmage. He's letting the offensive line make the move on the defensive line, take them where they can, and he is making the adjustment to them. That's a good back who can do that.
A pickup of 3, 2nd and 7, the ball at the 17. The Dolphins are holding on to the football. We're at 3:15 of the third period. Greasy staying in the pocket, waiting. The pass is complete to Nat Moore. A beautiful reception by Nat Moore, and that's concentration at its best.
That was good tight coverage on Nat Moore by number 25, Kurt Knopf. But watch Greasy. He feels a little pressure, and he steps up a little bit, delivers the ball to Nat. Watch this great concentration by Moore as he's hit by Knopf right here. Could have been pass interference, but it was just a super catch by Nat.
That'll put the ball inside the 5. It'll be 1st and 4, but before we get back to play, with 2:48 left on the clock, we'll take this time out.
It's a good friend, you tonight.
Hey, you guys ready for this? She's all ours. I can't believe you guys want to hear what I had to give up to get this baby? Not again. I got a better idea.
Low and nice. When you want the taste of a truly great American beer, tonight, let it be Low and Brow.
We may have just gotten a book, but we've always been a great group.
Low and Brow.
It's the last week of your Toyota dealer's August sales event. There's still lots of excitement, but you've got to get on the bandwagon now. Your Toyota dealers discover the deal days are almost over. We're moving out the last of the 1980s.
Forget high prices.
And discover summertime deals.
You can discover a Toyota for a lot less than you think. Don't let the parade pass you by.
Oh, what a feeling to feel Toyota.
You are watching the Vikings' second-round draft pick, Willie Teal, being escorted off the field. It looks as if he injured his knee. And the Vikings are having some problems. First of all, their number 1 draft pick, Doug Martin, is not in camp. He has still not reported because of a contract dispute. 1st and 4 for Miami. The ball is at the 4. Bob Greasy directing the offense. Double tight end for Miami. Steve Howe. He gets back to the line of scrimmage. Johnny Turner in on the stop. Turner, of course, played his collegiate ball at the University of Miami. 2nd and 4 from the 4. And Friday night, we hit the road again to travel to New Orleans, where the Dolphins will face the Saints. Remember, game time on Channel 4 is at 9 o'clock as we take you live to New Orleans, Bourbon Street.
That's right. All those good clarinet players and jazz people. This is a situation where they usually like to go to Delvin going wide, a running play to the right.
Play action. Bruce Hardy. The ball was intended for Hardy, but it was intercepted by Tommy Hannon. In the end zone, or an interception by Tommy Hannon. The ball was intended for Bruce Hardy. Nick?
Well, that's all of Jim Mandich. If you remember, that's the play that was very well executed by Mandich and Greasy. It's play action pass. The tight end delays a little bit. Then Greasy waits for him to clear out up over the middle. But right here, Tommy Hannon just anticipates it. I think what happened is Hardy took that pattern just a little too deep. I think if he would have cut it off a little shorter, it could have been 6. He took it too far over to the left. That was the problem with that play.
So the Vikings will take over with 1:32 left to play in this 3rd period at their own 20. 1st and 10. Miami had the ball 6 minutes and 47 seconds in that drive.
He came up with naught.
This is Ted Brown up the middle. Ernie Rohn and Mel Land in on the tackle. It'll be a pickup of 6, so it'll be 2nd and 4 from the 26.
You know, Minnesota really remembers that tight end, that play action, and that delay by the tight end, because in 1972, up in Minnesota, during the undefeated season, that's when Mandich slipped across in the last 2 minutes of the game, caught the winning touchdown. So they'll never forget that one.
Jeff Seaman is now playing center for the Vikings. He is the middle linebacker. The give is to Brown again. He's showing some brilliance here in the second half. He breaks to the outside, finally forced out of bounds by Glenn Blackwood. Jeff Allen also in pursuit. That'll be good enough for a 1st down.
Well, we think that's Jeff Seaman. We're really not sure, because Jeff Seaman does have a bad knee. This is good blocking by the offensive line. Brown makes a nice dip in and dips around here. Turns it on, gets a good 1st down for Minnesota, and it really helps a young quarterback like Dills to get a couple 1st downs in a row. Has to help his confidence.
That'll be a pickup of 12, so it'll be 1st and 10 for Minnesota. The ball at the 39-yard line. 47 seconds left to play in this 3rd quarter. Some movement in the Viking backfield. This is Ted Brown. He will be forced out of bounds by Don McNeil. And Don McNeil and Ted Brown are going at it here on the sideline. Red Moorcroft trying to break it up, one of the officials.
Well, Ted Brown ought to use a little of that ferociousness when he's carrying the football, when he turns up the field, never mind when he's going out of bounds.
There is a flag down on the play. It'll probably be illegal procedure against the Vikings.
No foul. The back was set. No foul. Second down.
Well, they changed their minds. The flag was thrown.
Well, he was set for a count. That's all that matters. So you see Ted Brown going east to west here. And then McNeil is just a tough kid out of Alabama. You don't draft the guy number 1. Then Brown wants to vent some of his frustration by attacking McNeil. That never proves anything.
Especially on the opponent's sideline. 2nd and 7, the ball at the 42. 40 seconds left to play in this third quarter. Dills is going to put it up. He hits Doug Pascal out of the backfield. He's brought down at the 45-yard line by Don McNeil. That'll be a pickup of 3, so it'll be 3rd down and 4.
Very interesting, though, Tony, because they're testing Don McNeil, and in college he had the reputation as probably the best tacklers, defensive backs in college last year. So I don't know what they're trying to prove. Doug Pascal, number 40 for Minnesota, is being highly regarded by the Minnesota staff. They think he really has all the tools to be a fine back in the NFL. Winding down the end of the third quarter.
And that is the end of the third quarter with the score, Miami 10, Minnesota 10. Now let's pause for station identification.
Most ordinary shingles like these are only guaranteed for 15 years. Now, these are fiberglass shingles from Owens Corning. They develop fiberglass shingles, you know. They won't curl. They're fire resistant. They're so tough, Owens Corning guarantees they'll last you into the 21st century. Yet they're available today.
Owens Corning fiberglass shingles. Guaranteed protection into the 21st century.
At Intercontinental Bank, we're looking to help people live better and better. And that's why we're encouraging the right kind of growth. We've worked with some of the finest builders and developers in South Florida to create sensible and beautiful residential communities, places that provide the type of environment you want for your family and we want for ours. Intercontinental Bank, the best way we can grow is to help you grow.
You'll enjoy what's coming September 8th.
Fourth quarter just getting underway. Tie score, 10-10 between Minnesota and Miami.
This is a situation, Tony, when Tarkenton was playing quarterback with Minnesota, and also the Viking staff likes it. They do a little play-action pass, and then they like to roll out a little bit and hit the tight end just enough to get the first down, 3 or 4 yards, not trying to make a big gainer out of it. And let's see if Dills takes up off the pattern of Tarkenton. There's the old brain trust of the Minnesota Vikings, Bud Grant. Talking with some assistant coaches.
I'm going to ask you how much you remember of the Minnesota offense from when you played. I mean, I'm sure you studied them so intently when you were playing.
It was not a very difficult. I didn't feel very difficult offense to defense because they do a lot of same things year after year. They don't change much.
3rd and 4. Big possession down for the Vikings. Dills dumps it off to Pascal. He has the first down. Brought down by A.J. Dewey. He fumbles the ball. Glenn Blackwood recovers for Miami. Blackwood and Kozlowski.
Everything well executed by Minnesota. The throw, the catch, the run, except near the end where they fumble. A big hit by A.J. Dewey, who's had a terrific night playing his defensive end position. A lot of pressure on the quarterbacks, coming up with a lot of hustle then to shake the ball loose from Pascal. First down for the Dolphins, Greasy at quarterback.
Kozlowski and Blackwood sharing in that fumble recovery. A nice play by A.J. Dewey stripping the ball from Doug Pascal. 1st and 10, the ball at the 46-yard line. Delvin Williams on the sweep. He's forced out of bounds by Fred McNeil. There are flags down.
That has to be a holding penalty if it's going to come from deep center field like that.
It is holding against Miami. .42 left to play here in the fourth period. 10-10. They are marking off the infraction.
Holding, number 84, offense, first down.
Bruce Hardy called for holding.
Dolphins have 4 penalties tonight for 25 yards. I want to wish congratulations to 2 very dear friends of mine who got married last night, Tony. It's Mark and Diane Pistol. Congratulations.
Well, I hope they had a nice evening and are beginning a nice honeymoon. First down and 20, the ball at the 36-yard line. Mullaney again putting pressure on Greasy, and he sacks him. And Mullaney is having quite an evening.
Well, it's a good lesson for Eric Lasko tonight, and he's going to meet a lot of players like the caliber of Mullaney here. What he does is he just comes in from the outside, and Eric just can't wall him off enough. Either that or Bob's going to have to step up in the pocket just a little quicker to give Lasko a better chance. But right now, Eric cannot handle Mark Mullaney.
Mullaney out of Colorado State, a 6-year veteran, drafted number 1 in 1975. That was a 13-yard loss, so now it's second down, 33 yards for a first down.
Second and forever.
Greasy again goes down, this time by Randy Holloway. Holloway, a third-year man from Pittsburgh. He is another number 1 draft pick. As we said, they have 3 number 1 draft picks on that front line. They wanted a 4th in Doug Martin, but he hasn't reported.
Well, first it was from the outside. Now it's up the middle here. You see number 75, Randy Holloway, just putting the pressure on. That time he beat number 61, Cleveland Green, to the inside. So John, I'm afraid, is going to have his work cut out for him this week with the offensive line.
Third down and the H-bus to go. Third and 41.
I think Greasy will just run the football here.
I would think so. Yes, the give is to Nathan. He gets up to about the 23-yard line. That'll be a pickup of 8. Fourth down and 34. Curtin off in on the stop. George Roberts in to boot for Miami. Eddie Payton will receive the punt. There's Tony Nathan. The Vikings trying to get back on the winning side. George Roberts back to punt, and there is Eddie Payton. The Vikings 7-9 in 1979. Eddie Payton will take the ball at the 45-yard line, but he's met immediately by Jeff Allen. And Allen has been a headhunter on those special teams. There's a timeout on the field with the score Minnesota 10, Miami 10. We'll return with more action after this pause.
Tom McCann makes country shoes that go country mile, with a lot of country comfort and a lot of country style. Get out in the open, get out to the land. If your heart is in the country, put your feet in Tom McCann.
Tom McCann country shoes in leather or suede.
If your heart is in the country, put your feet in Tom McCann.
Hi, Max, your action serviceman. I'd like to tell you a couple of things about us. We're in Jacksonville, St. Petersburg, Tampa, Orlando, Fort Lauderdale, and Miami. So you know you're dealing with a reliable, solid-as-a-rock company. We feel you're important enough for quality brand names, not something no one's ever heard of. And I'm always waiting to service your rentals at no extra charge. At Action, we care.
Action TV rental. You never have to be alone.
June Taylor's Dolphin Star Brights. First and 10 for Minnesota. The ball at the 45-yard line. 12:51 left to play in this game. The score is tied at 10. Stills to put it up. He hits Doug Pascal. Forced out of bounds by Bob Matheson.
Not a very
of 8, Nick.
Yeah, it's not a very fancy play. All it is a little cross action in the backfield. And they hit Pasco just going out to the sideline. Not a very fancy. They just get him one-on-one with a linebacker, and he beats him. He beat Bob Matheson that time. My old roomie, number 53.
He was your roommate, huh?
He was my roommate.
2nd and 2.
I had a lot of roommates. 15 years, you get a lot of them.
There's a good look at Stephen Dills. 2nd and 2, the ball at the Miami 47. The give is to Pascal, hit immediately by Steve Shull. Close to the first down, and they say Doug Pascal is very reminiscent of another great Minnesota back, Dave Osborne.
Looks an awful lot like Dave Osborne. The way he walks, the way he runs, same type of a build.
A pickup of 2, so it'll be 3rd down and 1, the ball at the 46-yard line.
Minnesota now employs 3 tight ends in their short yardage offense.
Third and 1. Pascal, first down. Across the 45-yard line.
Steve Dills is mixing his plays real well, Tony. He's throwing on first down, running. He's keeping the Miami defense a little off balance here. Got a nice drive going for the young man out of Stanford.
They think very highly of Steve Dills. The backup to Dills, the third quarterback on this team, is Mike Livingston, who is a 13-year veteran. 11:32, 1st and 10, the ball at the Miami 44. Sammy White in motion. The give is to Pascal, around the right side. He has some running room. Forced out of bounds by Glenn Blackwood, Don McNeil, and Doug Betters.
A lot of green jerseys down that time. A good offensive blocking by the right side of the Minnesota line. They had Chambers out of position, Land out of position, and Betters, and Pascal was able to get around that end, picked up some good yards, picked up 8 yards, in fact.
2nd and 2 from the 36-yard line of Miami. 11:19 left to play in this contest. The score is tied at 10. Steve Dills is directing the Minnesota offense.
Good time to throw the football, 2nd and 2.
He's going to keep it on the ground. Ricky Young, but he's met by Bill Barnett. We'll give him a pickup of 1. 3rd and 1 from the 35. Bill Barnett, another one of those young people that the Dolphins drafted. He was a 3rd-round pick out of Nebraska.
Some tough cuts. You know, you get this linebacker Shull, then you have Barnett, you have Mel Land, and of course we talked about Cozy. These are all defensive players, Jackson. And these guys, they all are fighting for jobs. Jeff Allen, defensive back. Some of them won't be there after Tuesday.
3rd and 1, the ball at the 35-yard line. Doug Pascal. He has the first down, written out of bounds by Don McNeil. But that is good enough for the first down. The ball will be spotted at the 32-yard line. 1st and 10 for the Vikings.
What they're doing is they're working on Mel Land, number 52. Let's watch over here. Pascal takes it to the right. You see Shull trying to come in from the inside, but that's Land's responsibility. He's the outside linebacker. Only a real good play by McNeil here keeps this from being a much bigger gainer than it could have been.
I'm impressed with McNeil, the way he can shed the blocks. He just shed that one from Melvin Mitchell. 1st and 10, the ball at the 31-yard line. Dills is going long for Rashad. He's being covered by Jeff Allen, but a beautiful throw. Touchdown, Minnesota. That was a beautiful throw by Stephen Dills.
All it is a takeoff. Rashad just goes sprinting up the sideline. He just outruns the young man, Jeff Allen, the rookie. As you see here, a perfectly thrown ball by Dills and good concentration by Rashad. And it's 6 points for Minnesota. Let's see it from another angle. All he does is put a little hesitation step on Allen and sprints it up the field. Just outlegs him to the end zone. And it's a quick 6 points for Minnesota.
Dills is impressive tonight. 5 of 6 for 64 yards and a touchdown.
This is the first true test that the Dolphin defense has had all year.
Brady Savage for the conversion. The kick is up. And it is good. So So with 10:23 remaining in the fourth quarter, let's pause for this timeout with the score: Minnesota 17, Miami 10.
If you've got better things to do than mow your lawn, get yourself a Snapper V-Series mower. Snapper's outstanding design features and big center-mounted grass catcher help you finish faster, so you can get on to more enjoyable pastimes.
When you gotta cut your grass and you want to do it fast, Snapper sets you free to be where you want to be.
Any way you cut it, it's a snap with Snapper. Here's to good friends.
You bought the place. You own it.
No, I don't own it. The bank does. I'm just looking after it.
Poor guy. The least we can do is buy him a steak and a beer.
Hey, I'm management now. The least you can do is buy me a steak and a Lowenbrow.
When you want the taste of a truly great American beer, tonight, let it be Lowenbrow.
Hey, what do you think, guys? Does the place seem better?
Danny, feels better.
Hills to Rashad, 31 yards, 7 plays, 55-yard drive, 2:28. Vikings are ahead 17-10, and the chant that you hear in the Orange Bowl, folks, is "We want Woodley," the young man out of LSU.
The kick by Rady Savage. Don Bessalou takes it at his 6. Going to bring it up the right side. Up to the 25-yard line. And David Woodley is coming in. He has made his mark, wouldn't you say? Do you think he's won the heart of the fans here in Miami?
I thought they were chanting, "We want Segredo," but I guess it was Woodley. I don't know. If this man doesn't feel pressure, we'll find out right now. The Dolphins are down by 7. 10:13 remaining in the fourth quarter. And the Dolphin offensive line has not been blocking too well. So let's see what happens.
1st and 10 for young David Woodley. The ball at the 25-yard line. Bob Torrey and Nick Giaquinto in the backfield. There's a good look at young David Woodley out of LSU. The pitch is to Giaquinto. Breaks inside the block of Torrey. But he is met by Randy Holloway. Scott Studwell also in there, and Studwell, Nick, is a very active linebacker.
Well, Studwell is the type of guy that will bring leadership to the defense. What they need is a linebacker to take Seaman's place. Seaman's been injury-plagued for the last 3 or 4 years, and Studwell is the type of guy that they feel can come in and do a job. Minnesota now has another injury. A player down on the field. Looks like Dave Roller, number 76, has played a very important role in tonight's ball game. He's put a lot of pressure on as far as passing situations are concerned, and also has played the run real well. So I don't know. Let's have to see how serious Dave Roller's injury is.
There's a look at Roller. There was no gain on that run there by Giaquinto. So it'll be 2nd and 10 for Miami. 10 minutes left. And I'll tell you something. The Vikings have not fared too well with injuries in this ball game. They've had a couple of people carried off the field. There's only one place to be this coming Labor Day weekend, and that's with Jerry Lewis for the Muscular Dystrophy Telethon. Join our local hosts, Chuck Zink and Dick Fennell, along with the stars from Hollywood for the Jerry Lewis Telethon beginning next Sunday at 9 here on Channel 4. And Roller is being carried off the field.
Well, then they may enhance Doug Martin's role. The first-round draft choice out of Washington, the defensive lineman. If Roller's out, then they may have to go out and sign this Doug Martin, even though they don't want to give him the type of contract he's looking for.
Second down and 10 for David Woodley and the Dolphins. The ball at the Miami 25. Woodley back to throw. Over the head of Joe Rose. Nate Wright on the coverage. There is Woodley, and boy, is he cool.
Well, that was the first time, Tony, in preseason that I've seen Woodley actually stay with the receiver who was really covered. Joe Rose was blanketed all the way, but yet he stayed with him, didn't look for a secondary receiver. So maybe game is a little tight now, and he could be feeling a little pressure. Let's see.
3rd and 10, 9:37.
I know I'd be feeling the pressure.
Tony Nathan has joined Giaquinto and Woodley in the backfield. He He has Joe Rose short of the first down. Darrell loose on the tackle.
Excuse me, Tony, but you're going to get a roughing the passer here on number 77, Mark Mullaney. You'll see, after Woodley releases the football, you're going to see number 77, Mark Mullaney, coming in from his defensive end position right here. Then he hits him. It's a nice pass. Woodley stayed in that pocket, saw Rose all the way, delivered it beautifully. 15-yard penalty for the Dolphins, and David Woodley, it gives him another opportunity.
Foul. Roughing the passer. Number 77 defense. First down.
So, first down for Miami at the 46-yard line. And Woodley, he stays in that pocket.
Yes, he will. He'll get out of the pocket if, in fact, he senses that he can't deliver the ball from there. He will then get out, only at the last minute.
The fans are excited here. They have taken David Woodley to their hearts. He's fighting for a position on this team. First and 10, the ball at the 46. He has his man. He has his man, Elmer Bailey, knocked down by Nate Wright. A pickup of 3, so it'll be 2nd and 7.
When Bailey starts getting experience, Tony, in a situation like that where he did like a 3-yard out pattern, when he senses that the defensive back is playing him that closely, what he usually will do is turn up the field and try to split the difference between the up back and the deep back. But he just doesn't have that experience to sense that right now.
2nd and 7 from the 49. This is Bob Torrey. Fighting for yardage. Tommy Hannon, James White, Johnny Turner in on the tackle. Close to the first down. They're bringing the sticks in. And they are still playing their front line people, the Vikings are.
It's a little unusual, really, considering what Bud Grant's philosophy is. Obviously, he wants to win. He wants to beat Don Schill and beat the Dolphins and beat Joe Robbie, who's from Minnesota.
Just a little bit short of the first down, so it'll be 3rd and 1. The ball will be spotted at the 44-yard line of Minnesota.
Minnesota will be playing 11-man line with this 3rd and 1 because Woodley, the young quarterback, they will not anticipate that he'll go to a play-action pass and go deep. I think it would be a good call, but we'll see.
3 tight ends in for Miami, and the Vikings are bunching up close. Let's see what happens. Play action. Woodley's going to keep it. He has the first down. And Nick, you got to give him credit. He was going to go for it.
You're darn right. The old proverbial ice water in his veins, and he has a play-action pass. He's looking deep, but 2 receivers collide into each other. Good coverage by Minnesota. He does what he does to his best. Gets up the field, makes the first down.
The ball at the 38, and Woodley has this team on the move. After that run, Ed Newman gave him a little slap on the head to congratulate him. Heads up play by David Woodley. 1st and 10, the ball at the 38-yard line of Minnesota. He's going to throw it. Joe Rose, beautiful touch on the ball. Nice catch by Rose, brought down by Tommy Hannon. Another first down for Miami at the 20-yard line, an 18-yard pickup.
He is so cool here, Tony. All he does, it's a finesse pass. He doesn't try to gun it. He finesses it over the linebacker. Look at that arc. Beautiful play by Woodley. Nice catch by Joe Rose. What a combination these two are.
They're roommates.
Rose and Woodley have been a terrific combination all through the preseason.
6:50 left to play in this game. David Woodley directing the Miami offense. The ball is at the Minnesota 20. Giaquinto picking his way across the 15. Gets to about the 12-yard line. Brought down by Kurtinoff and Johnny Turner.
Now the shoe's on the other foot, Tony. What's happening here is David Woodley is confusing the Minnesota defense. He's keeping them off balance. He's running the football on first down, throwing it on first down. They can't set their defense for any one thing. Woodley really has them right now in the palms of their hand.
Nice block by Dwight Stevenson. 2nd and 3. The ball is at the 13. Elmer Bailey in motion. The pitch is to Giaquinto. He cuts inside his block. Scott Studwell in on the tackle, close to the 10-yard line. Fred McNeil also helping out there. It'll be 3rd down and 1 at the 11. 3 tight ends coming in for Miami.
Tony, if we sound excited, we are. I know I am. This man has a tendency to excite you.
Third and 1 from the 11. Bob Torrey. Awfully close to the first down. Scott Studwell on a big hit. Matt Blair also in on the tackle.
Looks like it may be a little short.
It is a little short, but Woodley pointed to Don Shula, let him know it was about a half a foot. They're going to go for it. 4:57 left to play. 4th, and we're going to call it a half a yard. The ball is at the 11.
I think the play here would be to target the block and give the ball to Giaquinto for the first down.
It looked like a bad exchange from center. Minnesota recovering the football.
It was a quarterback sneak, Tony. He just fumbled the handoff.
Minnesota 17, Miami 10. We'll be back right after this timeout.
McDonald's presents a whole new way to love chicken.
Oh, a hot chicken sandwich. Great idea.
Nobody makes chicken like McDonald's. Plump, tender chicken cooked a special way, so it's crunchy golden brown on the outside and juicy on the inside.
It's very good. It's very new.
With lettuce, a tasty sauce, and served hot on a toasted sesame seed bun.
Nobody can do it.
McDonald's, you've done it again.
Like McDonald's can.
Homes like these you'd be proud to own. Are they really so expensive almost no one can buy? Not at all. Believe it or not, for less than $400 a month, you can own a home like this through the Kai's Company. Or for under $500 a month, you can be living in one like this today. Did you know that for less than $600 a month, you can buy a home like this through the Kai's Company? Even one like this for under $700 per month. Call your local Kai's office today and let Kai's experts show you the way.
As you see, 4:35 left to play in this game. That was the second lengthy drive for Miami with no points. 5:48 it consumed in time. 1st and 10 for Minnesota. The ball at the 10-yard line. That is Robert Miller with the ball around the right side. Pushed out of bounds by Steve Shull and Mel Land. A pickup of 1, so it'll be 2nd and 9. The ball at the 11. Robert Miller, 6-year man out of Kansas. Doug Pascal will be in the backfield with Miller, along with quarterback Stephen Dills.
All Minnesota will be interested in here, Tony, is getting a couple first downs, eat up the clock, not taking any chances.
The Dolphins are riding a 10-game preseason winning streak. It's about to be broken. Dills back to pass. He is brought down. A good rush by Doug Betters.
I mean, Betters didn't just tackle Dills. He annihilated him. Watch here. Dills dropping back into the pocket. He's looking off for number 81 sensor. But look at Betters come in here. He senses him at the last minute. And Betters just puts the clamp on Dills.
A loss of 8 yards.
She wanted to get corny. He pickled a dill.
Oh. 3rd and 17. The ball at the 3. The nickel defense in for Miami. Give us to Pascal. He's not going to get anywhere. Bill Barnett in on the tackle. We'll give him a pickup of 1 to the 4, so it'll be 4th and 16. Miami will get the ball back. We're at 3:40 left to play, and they will get the ball back in good field position. Tony Nathan back deep.
Good opportunity for Tony Nathan to do something positive for the Dolphins. Kicking out of his end zone, Coleman's going to have a tough time because the Dolphins, I'm sure, will put some pressure on him.
Greg Coleman. 39.5 yard average in 1979. That was 10th in the NFC. Here's the kick. Not real high. We should get some kind of return. Nathan at the 45. And he is upended by Robert Miller. A 40-yard kick, but a nice return. And Miami will start with good field position here with 2:58. The ball will be spotted at the Minnesota 30-yard line. 1st and 10. David Woodley will go back in at quarterback with Nick Giaquinto and Bob Torrey in the backfield with him.
You get a feeling like in situations like this, Tony, that David Woodley would like to do something with his wide receiver, Elmer Bailey, number 88.
He has his wide receiver split to the same side. Play action to Giaquinto. He was going for Bailey, but the pass is picked off by Kurt Knopf. He was going, for Eugene Berg. And the pass was picked off by Kurt Knopf.
Here's a situation where David Woodley doesn't step up and deliver the football. He just sort of lops it here. As you see there, he just throws off his back foot, and the ball's in the air an awful long time, Tony. And in that situation, any good defensive back is going to be able to make that adjustment to get the interception.
There is David Woodley on the sideline talking with Don Shula.
There's 2 miscues for David Woodley tonight. He fumbled the snap on a quarterback sneak, lost the football, and that interception. But he's still excited.
2:51 left to play in this game. The Vikings on top of the Dolphins, 17-10. This is Doug Pascal. He's going to lose some yardage. Doug Betters, Steve Shaw, and Rusty Chambers in on the stop. A loss of 2, so it'll be 2nd and 12 from the 19. We're at 2:30 left to play.
The ever mobile Ernie Rome now playing the outside linebacker position. He started off in the middle. Now he's playing the right linebacker position. So his value can be seen tonight.
2nd and 12. This is Robert Miller trying to find an alley. He's hit by Rusty Chambers. He crosses the 20. Gets to the 23-yard line. So it'll be 3rd and 8. The ball at the 23. That's the 2-minute warning with the score. Minnesota 17, Miami 10. We'll return.
Somebody should discover a better way to save gas. 37 ways, all called Toyota. You can get a great deal now. It's your Toyota dealer's Discover the Deal days. He's got a great selection, and right now you can discover a fuel-efficient Toyota for less than you think.
So forget high prices.
Discover the deal.
Okay, I'm not afraid of you anymore.
You know, it's amazing how similar we are. We have the same last name. And we both played baseball for the same team. We even drank the same beer, light beer from Miller. And we drink it for the same reason. Light has 1/3 less calories than their regular beer. And it's less filling. But we drink it because it tastes so great. Now, I know we're incredibly alike, but don't be confused. We are not identical twins. I'm at least 2 inches taller than you.
Make beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
2-minute warning here between Miami and Minnesota. The Vikings on top 17-10. One of the faithful still here at the Orange Bowl. We would like to thank our spotter tonight, Bo McComas, who's done an excellent job as usual, and our statistician, Harry Von Suskel. These two people keep us on top of what's going on. Charlie Stenberg, our director, Glenn Eklund, our associate producer, Gary McNutt, who has been our stage manager here in the booth, Frank Gatto, who has been controlling the officials on the sideline, telling them when to take timeouts, and of course, the incomparable Bernie Rosen, our sports director, who just walked into our booth. 3rd and 8, the ball at the 23. We're at the 2-minute warning here. 17-10, Minnesota over Miami. Stephen Dills in at quarterback for the Vikings. Miami needs to get the ball back. Dills to the air. He hits his tight end, Bob Tucker. Forced out of bounds by Glenn Blackwood. The ball moves up to the 28-yard line, a pickup of 5, so it'll be 4th down and 3, and Miami will get the ball back. Be interesting to see what they try and do here, and if David Woodley will go back in to direct the offense. Johnston into punt. As we told you, Skip Johnston was acquired just a few days ago on waivers from the Seattle Seahawks. Tony Nathan deep for Miami. We're at 1:54 left to play. Here's the kick. Nathan lets it bounce, and the ball is going to roll. Down to the 23-yard line, down by Keith Nord. A 49-yard kick by Skip Johnston.
Most of it rolling.
Most of it rolling. But it's 49 yards.
I know, it does all count. Right here, Nathan does the right thing. He couldn't, no way could he get that football, so he had to kind of shy away from it. This should be an interesting drive if he can get one going here.
1:42 left to play. The Vikings on top of Miami, 17-10. 1st and 10. The ball is at the Miami 23. David Woodley is in at quarterback. Bob Torrey, Nick Giaquinto are his setbacks. Woodley looking downfield. A flag is thrown. Going for Elmer Bailey. In and out of his hands. A flag was thrown.
And number 61, Cleveland Green, got that penalty call. But, you know, to me it didn't look like holding, but from up here it's pretty difficult to tell. It looked like he walled off number 75, Randy Holloway, pretty well. But the officials are on top of it and called the holding penalty. Minnesota will take it, push the Dolphins back as far as they can with only 1:35 seconds left to go.
Holding, number 61, offense, Bootham.
Cleveland Green was cited for that holding penalty, so it'll be 1st and 20. The ball was pushed back to the 13-yard line. 1:35 left to play in this game.
6 defensive backs now for Minnesota. Makes the task for David Woodley even more great.
Woodley has Bailey and Bird split wide. Mulaney again with some pressure. The pass is complete to Joe Rose. Close to the 1st down. Up to the 33-yard line. The hurry-up offense in. It's awfully close. It's a little bit short of that 1st down. A 20-yard pickup, however. Now they rule it a 1st down. They're moving the sticks now. David Woodley again to the air. Going for Bailey. In and out of his hands. Nate Wright in on the coverage.
Right on the money, though. That ball was right on the dollars. It hit Bailey in the hands. It was a very well thrown ball by Woodley. Nate Wright close coverage, but it could have been caught.
Gary Davis is now going in the backfield, replacing Bob Torrey. 1:05, 2nd and 10. The ball at the Miami 33. Woodley thus far 4 of 7 for 47 yards. There you see the clock in the upper right-hand corner of your screen. 1:05 left to play. Woodley has all the time in the world. Again, the Joe Rose in and out of his hands. Tommy Hannon with the interception. Still on his feet. Out of bounds. through the hands of Joe Rose. Tommy Hannon in the right place at the right time. That time, David Woodley had all the time in the world. And with 49 seconds left to play, I would think the Dolphins' 10-game preseason winning streak is about to be broken.
David looks like he's in practice right now here. Takes his time, delivers the football. Well thrown ball again. See, Joe Rose has a chance to catch it right there. It's not an easy catch. He has to stretch out, but he is hit when he makes contact with the football. But it was a ball that could have been caught. Now, we're not trying to enhance David Woodley's ability here by trying to use superlatives, but the man is a good football player, and as long as he keeps playing well, we're going to talk about it.
1st and 10, the ball at the 37, 49 seconds left to play. The give is to Robert Miller. Tries to spin away, finally brought down by Doug Betters. The clock is ticking down, 40 seconds. It's now stopped at 41 seconds. Miami calls a timeout.
But Miami could get the football again. 41 seconds, you figure a play will use up maybe 7 or 8 seconds, so they have 2 timeouts remaining, and they will take them after each play, so they probably will get the football.
It was a loss of 3, so it'll be first, second down, and 13 yards for the Vikings. And don't forget, we will be in the New Orleans Superdome. Do you realize the 2 games that we do on the road this year are both inside?
Yeah, I know. The Kingdome.
Kingdome and the
Superdome. And Al Hurt's place. That's 3 places on Bourbon Street. Pat O'Brien's. Well, Hank Goldberg told me he's making reservations at Brennan's for breakfast, so I know we're going to do breakfast at Brennan's.
You have to do that when you're in New Orleans. There's Don Shula pacing the sideline. Again, he has some tough decisions to make. This is a tough cut coming up. 10 people must go by Tuesday at 4 o'clock, and then that next Tuesday, the final 5 to get down to the 45-player limit, because the preseason will end and the regular season will begin. 2nd and 13, the ball at the 40. The give is to Doug Pascal. He's met by the middle of that Miami defense. Carl Barisic on the bottom of the pile, credited with the tackle. Another timeout by Miami.
I think Dills is going to throw on 3rd down. I don't think he's just going to run it out. I know Tarkenton wouldn't just run that clock and try to get eat up another play and another timeout by the Dolphins. He tries to get the first down.
You know, you mentioned Fran Tarkenton, and I have to tell you, you have to give a guy like Tommy Kramer a lot of credit. I mean, he had some big shoes to fill. Fran Tarkenton, of course, was such a favorite with the Minnesota fans, not to mention what he did for that Minnesota franchise, and a lot of people question as to whether Fran Tarkenton could have pulled the Vikings out of that 7-9 season last year and possibly turn it around to a 9-7 season. But Kramer stood tough, and he had a good year.
Well, you have to bite the bullet sooner or later, Tony, and the management decided they're going to go to young player Tommy Kramer, and he's going to be the future of the Vikings.
Steve Dills on the evening, 6 of 7 for 69 yards and 1 touchdown. The give is to Pascal, fighting up the middle, brought down by A.J. Dewey. Another timeout called by Miami.
That's the last one. It'll be interesting to see if they're going to punt the football or just run another play. If they run another play, then it'll be a 4th down play. The Dolphins then will get possession with probably 10 or 12 seconds left.
Well, the Dolphins find themselves faced with a 4th down and 7. The defense does. We're going to have to see what the Vikings decide to do. This is a great time of the year. You know, the football season's just getting ready to get cranked up. Major League Baseball, with the exception of one race, they're all very, very tight.
That's right.
You get to sink your teeth into that baseball pennant fever.
They're freezing the rinks in Canada for hockey.
Yes, they're freezing the rinks. The NBA is already in camp.
I don't know. Superstars are over in Key Biscayne.
That's right. The Superstars are in Key Biscayne this week. Coleman is in the punt. the Vikings were just penalized for too much time. And this is the part of the game that drags.
About 1,500 people left in the Orange Bowl. Everybody's in their car.
Our director just told us, let's talk about LaRuth. I guess he wants to go to dinner there. Glenn Eklund and Charlie Stenberg. You think they'll take us? Where? LaRuth? It's on the left bank.
I don't know. We going to Paris?
Offense. First down.
David Woodley talking with Don Shula on the sideline, discussing the strategy they will use in the final 29 seconds of this game. Here we go. Greg Coleman to punt. Tony Nathan will take it at his 10. And he's dropped at his 13. The clock will stop until Miami will put the ball in play. A 29-yard kick by Coleman. We mentioned the people up here in the booth who have helped us, and again, some fine work by our camera people, Jerry Gorman, Ronnie DeSillers, Richard Bergen on the sideline, and Ralph Rennick, Jr., up in the end zone. He's in the bird's nest up there. That's a great place to be. You get a great view of what's going on the field from the end zone. 1st and 10 from the 14, 19 seconds left to play. Woodley throwing it long for Elmer Bailey. Bailey has it, and he's out of bounds. Pushed out of bounds by Tommy Hannon. There's 11 seconds left on the clock. A 46-yard pickup.
The kid is amazing. He hangs in that pocket. Good blocking by the offensive line. Latsko doing a good job that time. Puts it up there nice, high, deep. Watch Bailey make the adjustment on it. Haney comes over to make the tackle, but it's too late, and the Dolphins have a chance. 11 seconds left on Minnesota's 40-yard line. I think Bailey's hurt.
Yes, he went in. He had an aggravated back to begin with, and the way he was slammed down there by Hannon, it wouldn't surprise me if he aggravated that injury at all. 11 seconds left to play. Miami has no timeouts. 1st and 10.
Let me ask you this. In preseason, do they go to overtime?
Yes.
They go to overtime?
Yes. Woodley looking long. Going for Ray Hardy over his head.
Well, we're going to find out right now whether we're going to go to overtime, because this is going to be the last play of the game. 5 seconds remaining. 2nd down and 10, which really doesn't mean anything. It's the last game, it's the last play, so we'll see. Nat's going into the ball game. Nat Moore.
That's right. He may be in the backfield. Nope. They're going to split him wide. Giaquinto came out of the game. All right, we have a formation of 3 receivers on one side. Bailey, Bird, and Rose. Nat Moore to the near side. Woodley's going to throw it up for grabs. Let's see who comes down with it. No one. Incomplete. That's it. No time left on the clock. The Dolphins' 10-game preseason winning streak has been broken. The Vikings on top, 17-10. And a very interesting preseason game. I thought we would see more young people for the Vikings. We didn't. And we saw a lot of people again for Miami. So be sure to join us next Friday night, August 29th at 9 p.m. for the live telecast of the New Orleans Saints Dolphins exhibition game from the beautiful Superdome in New Orleans. Once again, the final score, the Minnesota Vikings 17, the Miami Dolphins 10. This is Tony Segreto, along with Nick Buonacane, wishing you all a very pleasant good afternoon from the Orange Bowl in Miami.